Chapter 1366. On the way, Ghostly, who was dressed in a black robe and had a pale face, met Bloodhand, who was dressed in a blood-red robe. "I heard that your men were beaten up yesterday. I wonder how you feel about that? You're a wandering ghost. Get out of my way. If you piss me off, I'll kill you." Faced with Ghostly's provocation, Bloodhand's voice was cold, and his blood aura surged. "What? You want to fight me too?" Ghostly sneered. However, Bloodhand snorted. "I know what you mean. There's a blood soul stone in this auction. It's useful to both of us. Aren't you picking a fight with me because of the blood soul stone?" "It's good that you know." Ghostly sneered. "The blood soul stone is mine. If you dare to fight me, don't blame me for using the white bone banner to extract your soul. It's just a bone banner. If you piss me off, I'll kill you." Bloodhand's expression was ferocious. "As for the blood soul stone, it's mine. If you have enough spirit stones, feel free to compete with me." With that, he snorted and left with the Bloodfiend clan. Ghostly's expression was cold, and his eyes were glowing with a terrifying green light. On the other side, Nangonghao was also dressed in a robe. He was surrounded by the crowd. He looked around but did not see Hua Wufeng. "Where's Hua Wufeng? Why isn't he here yet?" he asked in a low voice. "Chief, Hua Wufeng left halfway and did not come to the auction. As for the reason, we don't know." Hearing that, Nangonghao snorted. "What a piece of trash. Since he's not coming, then forget it. Ignore him. He's about to die. It doesn't matter if he comes or not. There's a few spiritual herbs being auctioned this time. They're almost extinct. I must get them." Nangonghao muttered to himself. His eyes were burning with passion. Then he led his men into the VIP room. After that, the Shadowless clan, Ravengale clan, Purple Demon clan, and other clans, as well as some sects and families that had sided with the Black Dragon sect, all entered the auction. Soon the auction began. It was a half-earth step treasure right off the bat, and it immediately drew cries of surprise from everyone. This place wasn't like the Martial Heaven continent. Even these peak heavenly geniuses didn't have a half-earth tier treasure item. So as soon as that weapon appeared, everyone was attracted to it. From this point, it could be seen that although these people's cultivation bases had been raised by external forces, the Heavenly South region's overall level and resources were still lacking compared to the Martial Heaven continent. For example, half-earth tier treasure items were incomparably precious. But on the Martial Heaven continent, the peak families and sects still had quite a few. 1 million. As soon as the announcement was made, someone immediately made a bid. The bidder was the second leader of the Ravengale Hall. "You want to buy a half-earth step artifact with just 1 million? What a joke!" 2 million. The elite from Shadowless Hall sneered. 2 million. 2,400,000. Everyone started to bid, and the price kept rising. If Lin Xian were here, he would definitely see that the price of a half-earth tier treasure item was at least 10 times higher than on the Martial Heaven continent. As expected, this was a rare treasure in the Heavenly South region. In the end, this half-earth tier treasure item was won by the Shadowless Hall's Shadowless Hall for 5 million. Everyone was incomparably envious, and quite a few people were terrified. The Shadowless Hall was originally a group of assassins. Their attacks were swift and fierce, and they were extremely strange. Now that they had a half-earth tier treasure item, they would become even more terrifying. Shadowless's strength would also explosively increase. Bloodhand frowned. To tell the truth, he was extremely envious of this half-earth tier treasure item. The power of this treasure item combined with their Bloodfiend Hall's cultivation techniques would definitely allow them to sweep through everything. However, because he wanted to compete for the Blood Soul Stone, he didn't use too much of his wealth. In the end, this treasure was won by Shadowless. Forget it. Although a half-earth tier treasure item is good, it can't compare to a Blood Soul Stone. As long as I can obtain a Blood Soul Stone, my strength will also greatly increase. Blood Hand snorted and closed his eyes to rest, preparing for the next auction. The following auction was even more intense. There were several extremely precious spirit herbs among them. They were all won by Nangong Hao at an extremely high price. The price was extremely shocking and at the same time extremely envious. As expected of the divine pill hall, they were extremely wealthy. Nangong Hao didn't even blink when he threw out so many spirit stones. These items were passed down from the Saint sect. They were all very precious and attracted the attention of these elite martial artists. On the auction stage, a black-robed old man said loudly, "The next item is even more magical. Not only can it increase a martial artist's vitality, but it can also strengthen their soul force. It can be said to be incomparably magical." Hearing this, everyone cried out in surprise, and in the VIP room, Blood Hand sat up straight. He knew that the item he had been waiting for had finally appeared. On the other side, Ghostly also revealed a cold smile. His green eyes bloomed with a terrifying light. "The Blood Soul Stone is definitely mine." His voice was extremely sharp, carrying a sinister aura. Sure enough, the next moment, the auctioneer continued, "This magical item is the Blood Soul Stone. Not only can the Blood Soul Stone increase a martial artist's vitality, but its blood can also strengthen soul force. It can be said to be an extremely rare treasure." Hearing this, the martial artists in the hall were all excited. They didn't expect to see such a creature in an auction. Everyone couldn't wait to participate in the bidding. Even Nangong Hao's eyes were burning. As an alchemist, he also needed to strengthen his soul force. This Blood Soul Stone was very useful to him. Not only him, but everyone wanted their vitality and soul force to be strong. Therefore, the Blood Soul Stone was very attractive to everyone. Blood Soul Stone, starting price 10 million. Each increment must be no less than 1 million. The bidding starts now. As soon as he finished speaking, the people in the hall boiled with excitement. 13 million, 15 million, 20 million, 24 million, 28 million. The price soared. He, 30 million. Let's see who dares to compete with me. A cold voice sounded, causing everyone's hairs to stand on end. They knew that it was Ghost Lee's voice. The ordinary martial artists shrank their necks in fear. They didn't dare to compete with Ghost Lee. Moreover, they didn't have so many spirit stones. As for the top geniuses, they weren't afraid of Ghost Lee. 35 million! You don't need to scare me. I'm not afraid of you. Blood Hand snorted. 40 million! This kind of good item can only be used by us alchemists. It's a waste for others to use it. Nangong Hao said proudly. Is that so? I don't think so. Soul force is also important to us assassins. Shadowless's voice also sounded. 45 million. 50 million. Zi Yan didn't say anything. He only bid in a deep voice. Everyone is fighting so fiercely. I don't think there will be any results. Why don't you give it to me? In the future, if you want any beautiful slaves, just tell me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. A delicate voice sounded. Hearing this voice, everyone was shocked. Chapter 1367. Pink Aristocratic Family. Someone exclaimed, "Damn it, those women are here too. When did they come? Why didn't I know?" Nangong Hao frowned. Those who could make him feel this way must have a high status. The Pink Aristocratic Family was a special force in the Tianan region. After the Black Dragon sect was awakened, they submitted. Not only that, their status did not drop, but it was even higher than before. They were even valued by the Black Dragon sect's leader. The Pink Aristocratic Family was full of women, and they were all beautiful women. They were proficient in all kinds of charming techniques and were deeply loved by the higher-ups of the Black Dragon sect. The Pink Aristocratic Family also worked hard to send their beautiful women to the experts of the various halls. Until now, almost every expert of the Black Dragon sect had a woman from the pink aristocratic family beside them. It could be said that the pink aristocratic family had completely integrated into the Black Dragon sect. They were deeply rooted and very complicated. No one dared to touch them easily. Even the divine Pill Hall did not dare to provoke the pink aristocratic family. The two women beside Blood Hand previously were from the pink aristocratic family. Even Nangong Hao had women from the pink aristocratic family. Therefore, everyone knew that although these women looked gentle on the surface, once they were angered, they would retaliate like a storm. Moreover, no one could contend against them. Therefore, when everyone heard the pink aristocratic family's bid, most of them gave up. Only a few geniuses and extremely powerful martial artists were still bidding. However, gradually those experts could not hold on. Only the pink aristocratic family, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and Ghostly were left. 100 million. A cold voice sounded. Ghostly was expressionless. He was no longer as relaxed as before. 110 million. Blood Hand gritted his teeth. However, he was determined to get the Blood Soul Stone. 130 million. Nangong Hao snorted. His expression was very cold. Even if the divine Pill Hall was rich, they could not afford such expenditure. After all, 100 million was not a small amount. Hee, it seems like you guys are still unwilling to give up. 150 million. The coquettish voice sounded again. It was as if the spiritual stones were nothing. Hearing this frivolous voice, the surrounding people were shocked. Too strong. Compared to the 5 geniuses, the pink aristocratic family was even stronger. This was because the 5 great sky prides were directly under their respective halls, and each hall was in a hostile state. However, the pink aristocratic family was different. They had already infiltrated each hall. To put it bluntly, behind every expert stood a woman from the pink aristocratic family. Therefore, behind the pink aristocratic family was the entire Black Dragon sect. Therefore, the pink aristocratic family's financial resources could be said to be very strong. After a round of fighting, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and Ghostly all retreated in defeat. The pink family's Yu Luosha had already won the Blood Soul Stone for 200 million. Humph. Nangong Hao snorted, his face gloomy. Ghostly's expression was also cold. The green light in his eyes kept flickering, like 2 balls of ghost fire. Pink aristocratic family, Yu Luocha, you better not fall into my hands. Otherwise, I will refine your soul into the most terrifying evil spirit. In another VIP room, Blood Hand's face was also filled with killing intent. A sea of blood formed around him, dyeing the entire room red. If the other party wasn't from the pink aristocratic family, he would have already charged over with his saber. He thought that his biggest enemy during the fight was Ghostly. However, he didn't expect that the final winner wasn't him or Ghostly, but the pink aristocratic family. As for you, Luo Cha, she kept giggling, seemingly very satisfied with the result. Everyone was shocked. Although they had no fate with the Blood Soul Stone, they didn't come in vain to be able to see such a thrilling auction. After the Blood Soul Stone, the atmosphere in the auction house dropped, but it was still very lively. After all, a magical treasure like the Blood Soul Stone was rare. There was only one in the entire auction house. Half a day later, the highly anticipated auction finally came to an end. However, the lively atmosphere didn't dissipate. The warriors in the hall were all discussing excitedly. However, in the corner of the hall, there was a figure sitting there quietly. He didn't talk to anyone as if he was asleep. He was the warrior that Lin Xian had planted a beast slave seal on. At that moment, he had already transmitted the scene of the auction to Lin Xian. Soon, Lin Xian received the information. He quickly browsed through it, then the corner of his mouth curled up, revealing a satisfied smile. Lin Xian was indeed very satisfied. He didn't expect that a good item would appear in this auction. It was the Blood Soul Stone. It could increase blood chi and soul power at the same time. To be honest, He had never seen such an item before. If he could get his hands on this item, it would be of great help to his cultivation of the Furious Dragon formula and the Sky Spill visualization picture. Therefore, he decided to make a move. Not only that, other than the Blood Soul Stone, Lin Xian also found a few supreme-grade spiritual herbs and some other items. Since he was going to make a move, he might as well go big. Lin Xian decided to snatch everything in the auction house. After all, they were all from the Black Dragon religion. Snatching one or two made no difference to him. Therefore, in the next moment, he summoned the little white monkey. Woo, gee, the little white monkey cried out happily. Then it took out a small, shabby bowl and started to cast a spell. Whoosh! Soon, there were a few more spiritual herbs in the bowl. They were all extremely precious spiritual herbs. On the other side of the auction house, Nangong Hao cried out in surprise because he found that the supreme grade spiritual herbs he had just bought were gone. How is this possible? Nangong Hao was shocked. Who dares to attack me? Get out here. His nerves were twisted as he roared like a madman. He was really angry. As the second branch leader of the Divine Pill Hall and a top genius, no one had ever dared to attack him. Now, someone dared to snatch his spiritual herbs. This was definitely a blatant provocation. However, what made him even more furious was that he didn't even see who it was. How did he do it? What's wrong? What's going on? The surrounding martial artists were also confused. They only saw Nangong Hao being stunned for a moment before he roared angrily. Who dares to provoke Nangong Hao? Are you kidding? Who dares to provoke him? Do they want to die? Then why is he so angry? Who knows? Everyone shook their heads. They didn't understand what was going on. On the other side, Shadowless from the assassination hall also snorted and shook his head. He couldn't figure out what was wrong with Nangong Hao. It was really embarrassing for him to lose his composure like this. After receiving the half-Earth class artifact from the Elder, Shadowless left with the people from the assassination hall. However, in the next moment, he was stunned. Chapter 1368. Because the half-Earth rank treasure he had just obtained was gone. It was indeed gone. It was as if it had disappeared into thin air. How is this possible? Shadowless was shocked. He quickly scanned his surroundings, but found no one around him. Who is it? Get out here. Shadowless's expression was cold. A trace of ferocity finally appeared on his expressionless face. Murderous aura surged from his body and instantly pierced through all directions. Feeling this murderous aura, the surrounding warriors all exclaimed and retreated crazily. They did not expect Shadowless to go crazy and release such a murderous aura. Crazy, this is really crazy. First Nangong Hao, now Shadowless. What was wrong with them? No one could understand why the top prodigies had gone crazy. On the other side, Bloodhand and Ghostly also snorted coldly. Both of them were in a bad mood. They did not obtain the Blood Soul Stone. Although they had obtained other treasures, they were still very unhappy. At this moment, seeing Shadowless and Nangong Hao go crazy, they sneered. However, in the next moment, both of their expressions changed at the same time. This was because they discovered that the treasures they had just won had also disappeared. Now they finally knew why Nangong Hao and Bloodhand went crazy. The same thing must have happened. Strange, it was really strange. Clearly, no one had made a move, but their treasures had disappeared into thin air. There's a peerless expert. Bloodhand's face was terrifyingly gloomy. His murderous aura condensed and was about to explode. Ghostly's expression was also ferocious. His green eyes bloomed with a terrifying light. Impossible, no matter how powerful a warrior is. He can't escape our detection. But we didn't find anything. This means that it's not what we think at all. But what method is it? These prodigies really could not understand. In the next moment, there were more exclamations. It seemed that those people's treasures had mysteriously disappeared. Among them, there was one voice that was the sharpest. It was a woman's voice. It was very mournful, as if it could pierce the entire sky. "Ah, damn it! Who is it? Who dares to take my blood soul stone? Don't let me find you, or I'll tear you to pieces." What? The blood soul stone was lost? Hearing this, the surrounding people were shocked. Thinking back to how those sky prides had gone crazy, they finally understood what had happened. Could it be that someone had stolen all the treasures they had won? From the looks of it, it was possible. Otherwise, these people would not be so crazy. But how was that possible? They were all top-notch experts who could snatch away the treasure in front of them. And from the looks of it, they didn't seem to have discovered who the enemy was. Everyone was stunned. It was as if they had seen a ghost, because this matter was simply too strange. The people in the auction house naturally knew about it, so they decided to quickly seal off the entire auction house and investigate carefully. However, no matter how much he investigated, there were no results. There was only a group of sky prides whose faces were terrifyingly dark. On the other side, Lin Xian looked at the pile of treasures on the ground and laughed loudly. The little white monkey kept yawning and rubbing its eyes. It seemed that it was very tired. It seemed that seizing so many treasures this time must have consumed a lot of its energy. Lin Xian generously gave him a pile of top-grade spirit fruits and hurriedly let the young man rest. The little white monkey hugged the pile of spirit fruits, turned into a ray of white light, and entered the demon beast pouch. Lin Xian took out a few stalks of spirit herbs and a blood-red stone from the pile of treasures on the ground. These spirit herbs were not bad and would be of some use to him, and this blood-red stone was the most precious of them all. It was the blood soul stone, which could increase blood chi and soul power. As for the other items, although they were also treasures, Lin Xian did not care about them. He just casually put them away. "This is the blood soul stone." The Crimson Dragon was shocked. He did not expect another treasure to appear at the auction. Murong Qingsheng also exclaimed, then said slowly, "This blood soul stone is indeed precious. Even the Murong family doesn't have many. I only got a little on my birthday in the past. I didn't expect you to be so lucky." Lin Xian was also very excited. With the blood soul stone, his angry dragon mantra and sky spill visualization image would definitely be able to improve. "Let's go back. I think those guys are going crazy." The Crimson Dragon was also excited. Should we send them a message?" "Of course. I'm waiting for them to come to me. If I don't send them a message, how will they know that I did it?" Therefore, Lin Xian kept laughing along the way. The items at the auction were really good. This was a great harvest. Anyway, they were all extremely arrogant words. Soon, these words reached the ears of the sky prides. In the auction, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, Ghostly, Shadowless, Xiang, Pink Family, and many other elite warriors were all gritting their teeth. Although they did not see it with their own eyes, from the reports of their subordinates, this matter was definitely related to Hua Wufeng. It was even possible that he was the one who did it. This was because he did not even come to the auction. How could he know what happened at the auction and say such things? Wasn't he obviously provoking them? "Hua Wufeng, how dare you steal from me? I'll tear you into pieces." Nangong Hao's expression was cold. He had never suffered such a loss before. Blood Hand's expression was ferocious. The sea of blood on his body surged, emitting a strong smell of blood. Ghostly also had a ferocious smile on his face. His green eyes were emitting a very strange light. Like Blood Hand, he was determined to get the Blood Soul Stone. Originally, he thought that the two of them had no hope after it fell into the hands of the Pink Family. However, he did not expect the situation to take a turn now. Although they had dropped many treasures, the Blood Soul Stone had also been dropped. Moreover, from the current situation, It seemed that Hua Wufeng had stolen it. This was undoubtedly good news for them. If they could snatch the Blood Soul Stone from Hua Wufeng, it would be theirs. There was no need to return it to the Pink family. Thinking of this, Ghostly laughed coldly. He looked like an evil spirit. However, the others could not laugh at all. Their faces were gloomy, as if they wanted to kill someone, especially the Pink family. They were so angry that they stomped their feet. Their status was so high that no one in the entire Black Dragon religion dared to offend them. However, someone dared to steal from them. This was really audacious and intolerable. Hua Wufeng, right? No matter how capable you are, no matter what your identity is, you're dead for daring to find trouble with the Pink family. I'll let you know that in front of the Pink family, whether you're a Ninth Heaven Supremacy or the disciple of the Third Guardian, everything is useless. Chapter 1369. The Southern Wilderness, ancient town, naturally received the news as well. Hence, the order was passed down. The martial artists and elites of the various halls could attack, but they were only allowed to attack Hua Wufeng. They were not allowed to implicate others. Hearing the news, the prodigies and elites all revealed sinister smiles. Soon, a few of them gathered together and began to discuss. Although they used to be enemies, they now had a common enemy, and that was Lin Xian. What do you guys think? Do you plan to attack directly? Nangong Hao asked, looking like a leader. Hearing that, Bloodhand said coldly, I don't need to attack directly to deal with him. Ghostly sneered. Tomorrow is the Octatic treasure chest game. It's not good to waste energy tonight. However, I'll send my strongest subordinates to kill that kid. The others nodded. They would all send their elite troops to assassinate Hua Wufeng. However, they would not attack personally, because tomorrow was the Octatic treasure chest game, which was extremely important to them, because tomorrow would decide the ownership of the mysterious crystal. Compared to the Blood Soul Stone, the mysterious crystal was more attractive. One had to know that the Blood Soul Stone could increase one's vitality and soul, while the mysterious crystal could directly increase a martial artist's cultivation. Their cultivation had been raised that way, so they naturally knew how magical the mysterious crystal was. Nothing could be compared to the mysterious crystal. Everything had to make way for the mysterious crystal. Hence, these people would not attack before the Octatic treasure chest game. However, they would not let Lin Xian go. Pink family, you Luosha, the most outstanding disciple of the younger generation. At that moment, her face was pale as she said coldly, No matter what you decide, the Blood Soul Stone is mine. Whoever dares to fight with me, don't blame the Pink family for being merciless. Hearing that, the prodigies and elites did not speak, but Blood Hand snorted coldly. Ghostly also laughed sinisterly. It seemed that the two of them did not care about the Pink family's warning. All right, everyone, let's talk about how to deal with Hua Wufeng. What's there to talk about? He's just an arrogant kid. If we really attack, I can destroy him with one hand. Blood Hand snorted with disdain. Ghostly also smiled coldly. I really want to do it. I'll extract his soul and merge it into my white bone banner. This way, my chances of winning tomorrow will increase by a lot. But to be honest, that kid shouldn't be easy to deal with. If he really wants to fight, he should be able to last 10 moves from me. But he's too strange. I won't risk tomorrow's game on the island. Tomorrow is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference, and also the most crucial day. At that time, the Azura Hall's army will arrive, and our respective Vice Hall masters will also arrive. That's a truly terrifying expert. I'm afraid that even the city lord of the southern wasteland ancient town would have to treat him seriously. Even if this brat can live past today, he will definitely die tomorrow, Ziyang said in a deep voice. That makes sense. Nangong Hao nodded. Then I'll send out a nameless elite fire element martial practitioner. I will let him know the consequences of provoking my divine Pill Hall. Leave the assassination to me. Shadowless was expressionless, but his eyes were full of murderous intent. I will also send out 5 elites. I will also send out capable generals. Voices rang out one after another. Soon the various halls, as well as the experts, would send out their elites in preparation to kill Lin Xian tonight. Cold moon, lonely star. The night was very quiet, very quiet. Lin Xian sat in his room, took out the blood soul stone, and carefully examined it. It was a blood soul stone the size of a goose egg. It was very smooth and emitted a crimson light. It felt very warm to the touch. As long as he held it, he could feel the energy inside. If he absorbed a little bit, he could feel his blood chi and soul strengthening. Good stuff. This is definitely good stuff. Lin Xian was very happy. With this blood soul stone, his furious dragon formula and sky spill visualization chart could definitely reach a new level. However, he didn't immediately start cultivating. Instead, he frowned slightly. This was because he sensed that dozens of auras were quickly approaching. These people's auras were very powerful and fast. There were even assassins hidden in the air. Without a doubt, these were the prodigies. At the same time, he also sensed that Morong Qingqing and Ruo Bingshan in the room next to him also wanted to make a move. Hence, he quickly sent a voice transmission. The 2 of you can sleep peacefully. Leave the rest to me. Then, Lin Xian took a deep breath and disappeared from the room. In the next moment, he arrived at the roof of the Drunken Immortal Inn. Lin Xian stood quietly at the highest peak with his hands behind his back. He looked up at the cold moon as if he was waiting for something. Buzz! Suddenly, a blood-colored saber light lit up from the void. It was like a blood-colored lightning bolt, carrying violent energy as it quickly slashed towards Lin Xian's neck. This saber strike was very sudden, and its speed was very fast to the extreme. Even a 9th heaven supremacy wouldn't be able to dodge it. One could imagine that the attacker was definitely a peerless swordsman. Furthermore, judging from the violent aura, it should be someone from the Blood Fiend Hall. If someone else was here, they would definitely exclaim in shock. This was because the attacker was Blood One Saber. He only needed 1 strike to kill someone, so he was called Blood One Saber. At the same time, 3 cold lights lit up behind him. 3 long swords were like venomous snakes, emitting a sinister aura as they silently pierced towards him. They were aimed at the middle of Lin Xian's back. If he was hit, he would definitely die immediately. Countless ghostly figures pounced towards him rapidly. Countless streaks of fire appeared in the sky, forming a fiery dragon that roared at him. Meanwhile, pink fog formed under his feet, quickly forming 2 palms that grabbed his legs. These attacks were formed in an instant. It could be said that there was an inescapable net, and it was definitely a sure kill. This was a sure death situation. This situation could make any 9th heaven supremacy despair. However, Lin Xian looked at these attacks and didn't seem to make a move. He stood with his hands behind his back as if he didn't see them. When these attacks were about to land on him, a smile appeared on his face. The corners of his mouth finally curled up into a cold smile. In the next instant, an extremely terrifying cold aura exploded from his body and quickly spread out in all directions. In an instant, it enveloped the entire space. That cold aura was so cold that it froze the entire space the moment it appeared. Countless streaks of ice quickly spread from Lin Xian's body. The blood-red saber light in front of Lin Xian stopped in an instant and hung in midair. That saber light was covered by countless streaks of ice, forming a layer of frost. Not only that, but the 3 Han Jingguang behind him were also instantly frozen. The sea of fire above him, the fog below him, the hidden weapons and ghostly figures around him, and the boundless sea of blood were all frozen at this moment. This scene was very strange. It was as if a blue painting was slowly unfolding. Chapter 1370. The blood-colored saber light in front of Lin Xian suddenly stopped and hung in midair. The saber light was wrapped in ice, forming a layer of frost. Not only that, but the 3 Han Jingguang behind him were also instantly frozen. The sea of fire above him, the fog below him, the hidden weapons and ghosts around him, and the boundless sea of blood were all frozen at this moment. This scene was very strange. It was like a blue painting that was slowly unfolding. It was not just these attacks. The surrounding cultivators who had attacked were also forced out of the void by this blue frost. They did not even have the chance to escape before they were frozen and turned into ice sculptures. The one who had attacked was a handsome young man. He was dressed in a blood-colored robe, and his black hair was coiled on his head with a fork. He held a blood-colored, demonic saber in his hand that shone with a demonic light. His originally bloodthirsty eyes were now filled with fear. He was an elite of the Blood Fiend Hall, Bloody Dao. However, at this moment he was frozen. Behind him was a black-robed assassin. He was dressed in black and had short hair. His face was very ordinary. If he was thrown into a crowd, he would not attract anyone's attention at all. This was an assassin from the Assassination Hall. He was very ordinary, but his attacks were very sharp and could kill with one move. However, such a terrifying assassin was also frozen at this moment. On his left and right were 2 middle-aged men with pale faces and ferocious expressions. They held 2 ghost streamers in their hands, and the surrounding ghosts were released by them. These 2 people were surrounded by countless ghosts. They did not look like humans at all, but like demons that had crawled out of hell. These were the elites of the malicious Ghost Hall. However, at this moment, they were even more frightened than if they had seen ghosts. This was because they could not move at all. Their bodies were completely frozen. Below them was a beautiful woman. She was wearing very little clothes, and her eyes were even more seductive. She exuded a dazzling aura, but at this moment she was filled with fear. This was a woman from the pink aristocratic family. Below her were 2 elites of the Divine Pill Hall. They were both fire-type elites and had strange flames in their hands. They could easily defeat a 9th Heaven's supremacy. However, they could not melt the ice on their bodies. These people were the elites of the various halls. Every one of them could strike fear in countless people. However, at this moment, they were gathered together to kill Lin Xian. It could be said that this was an extremely powerful lineup. Even those top prodigies might not be able to escape. But now, they were instantly frozen by Lin Xian. They still maintained their attacking postures, and even the hideous smiles on their faces were still present. However, the expressions in their eyes had changed. Each and every one of them was incomparably shocked and terrified. How is that possible? How is this possible? They couldn't believe that someone could freeze all of them in an instant. What kind of method was this? Perhaps even their masters, those peerless geniuses, couldn't do it. At this moment, their hearts were filled with fear because they realized that they had indeed underestimated the young man before them. Lin Xian scanned the surroundings. So many experts and elites. This is truly a sure-kill situation. Unfortunately, you found the wrong person. As he spoke, he strode forward. Pung! Lin Xian took a step forward as if he were taking a leisurely stroll. However, Blood Blade suddenly widened his eyes. His eyes were filled with endless fear because he found that his body was trembling uncontrollably. The qi and blood in his body were surging. The moment Lin Xian's foot touched the ground, his body exploded with a loud bang. In the end, only his head was left. However, in the next moment, the ice on his body released an endless, terrifying aura and completely sealed the head. In an instant, this terrifying expert from the Blood Fiend Hall, the awe-inspiring Blood Blade, was killed. Seeing this scene, those people's minds went blank. They could not believe it. With just one step, the terrifying Blood Blade was killed just like that. What kind of method was this? They could not believe it. However, they did not have time to think because Lin Xian took a second step. Pung! The body of the Assassination Hall assassin behind him also exploded, turning into countless ice shards. With the third step, the peerless beauty under his foot cracked open. Her face was filled with fear. With the fourth step, countless cracks appeared on the bodies of the two vengeful spirits hall martial artists on her left and right, as if they had been eaten by countless hungry ghosts. With the fifth step, the two peerless experts from the divine pill hall turned into ashes and no longer existed. Throughout the entire process, Lin Xian did not move at all. With just 5 steps, the terrifying experts around him were wiped out. In the entire void, only some ice shards were still floating. What? This is impossible. How did he do it? What kind of method is this? It can be so terrifying. These people were not the only ones who came to assassinate. At this moment, there were countless experts hidden in the surroundings. However, when they saw the scene in front of them, they were all stunned. Ice. He's an ice-based martial artist? How is this possible? Isn't he a lightning-based martial artist? Heavens, he's a dual-based martial artist. Damn it, this guy hid too well. Everyone was horrified. They realized that they had underestimated the youth in front of them. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile as he walked forward step by step. The surrounding martial artists trembled and retreated. However, suddenly the scene around them changed drastically. It was no longer a starry sky, but a sea of learning hell. As for Lin Xian, he was hung in midair by chains formed by countless bones. His limbs were pulled apart, and his entire body was suspended in midair. In front of him, countless bone swords, spears, and swords slashed his body ruthlessly. In an instant, his body was torn apart, revealing eerie white bones. Fresh blood flowed out, and the pungent smell of blood made one vomit. It seemed that Lin Xian would not survive. Lin Xian frowned. However, in the next moment, he sneered disdainfully. The illusion technique is very realistic. If it were any other ninth heaven supremacy, they would probably have died under this illusion technique. However, this is useless against me. He snorted coldly, and a low dragon roar came from his body. The surrounding mountains of bones, blood, and corpses exploded instantly. In the next moment, the horrifying scene around them returned to normal. Lin Xian was still standing in midair with his hands behind his back. In front of him was an old man in purple robes. He spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at Lin Xian in horror. Impossible. How could you break through my illusion technique so easily? He was extremely shocked. This old man was from the Purple Demon Hall, and he had also used the Purple Demon Illusion Technique. This illusion technique was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he was in ninth heaven's supremacy. If someone was hit by his illusion technique, even someone one realm higher than him would not be able to escape. However, Lin Xian had broken through his illusion technique in the blink of an eye. This had completely overturned his understanding. However, Lin Xian's lips curled up. To be able to use such an illusion technique, it means that your soul power is definitely not weak. I wonder if you can block one of my attacks? Chapter 1371. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the elder of the Purple Demon Hall was stunned for a moment. However, his expression changed drastically in the next moment. He was extremely terrified. This was because he felt an extremely terrifying soul power rushing towards him. This soul power formed an invisible spear that was extremely terrifying. It instantly pierced into his mind. In the next moment, the purple-robed elder held his head and screamed as he rolled on the ground. Pain. It was really too painful. It was 10 times, no, 100 times more painful than being injured by a sword. This was the collision of soul power. He did not expect the other party's soul power to be so terrifying that he could not fight back at all. Now he finally understood why the other party could break his illusion so easily. It was because the other party's soul power was more than 10 times stronger than his. He had never seen such a soul power before. Even their hall master did not have such a soul power. Who was this mysterious young man? Was he really just the disciple of the third guardian? But how was that possible? The elder of the Purple Demon Hall did not believe it at all. This soul power was too terrifying. It had probably surpassed the venerable realm. He did not believe that the third guardian could teach such a disciple. He wanted to spread the news, but the terrifying soul power pierced through his soul. In the next moment, his eyes widened and his soul completely disappeared. Plop! The purple-robed elder's body landed on the roof. His eyes were wide open, but his pupils had already lost their luster. What happened? The surrounding warriors were shocked. They did not know what had happened because they realized that the purple-robed elder was not injured at all. However, there was no sign of life in him. These people sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Lin Xian as if he was a monster. They knew that there was only one explanation for this situation. The souls of these elders were gone and they were killed. Was this young man also a soul expert? The last 6 surviving martial artists were terrified. However, they had still received the order, so they had to attack even if they were terrified. In the next moment, the 6 of them roared and quickly burned their spirit power. They exploded with their strongest attacks and charged towards Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian waved his hand. Instantly, countless icicles bloomed in the air. With a terrifying chill, they quickly pierced towards the 6 people. This was not the most terrifying thing. What was even more terrifying was that these martial artists felt the blood in their bodies instantly solidify, forming sharp icicles that pierced out from the inside. In an instant, their internal organs and meridians were severely injured. In addition to the icicles outside, everyone was pierced with holes. Countless icicles protruded from their bodies, and their blood quickly coagulated. Ugh! The 6 of them opened their mouths wide, wanting to say something, but before they could make any sound, they fell to the ground. A cold wind blew and whistled. The entire world fell into silence once again. Only the cold moon in the sky emitted a cold light. In an instant, the elite martial artists sent out by the various halls were all killed. However, Lin Xian did not leave. He narrowed his eyes and looked to the left. Then he said coldly, "You've been watching for a long time. Come out obediently. Do you want me to make a move?" Hee, what a sharp soul power. You can actually detect our presence. A delicate laugh was heard. Then the void fluctuated and a fiery, red light quickly appeared. In the next moment, 2 beautiful figures appeared in the void. It was a man and a woman. The woman was wearing a long white dress and had a beautiful face. The man was wearing a black robe and had a cold expression. The 2 of them stood together and looked like a couple. "Kid, I have to say that you're very powerful. You can actually kill so many experts in an instant. No wonder they invited me over. But it's a pity that you met us. No matter how powerful you are, you won't live past today." The woman said delicately. Lin Xian sneered. "More than one person has said this to me, but I'm still alive and well." As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his finger gently. Suddenly, numerous icicles formed and quickly pierced in their direction. Poof! In the next moment, 2 icicles pierced through the bodies of the 2 people in front of him. However, Lin Xian furrowed his brows. It wasn't as he had imagined. Although their bodies were split open, there was no blood spurting out. There was even a disdainful smile on their faces, as if they were mocking Lin Xian. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 2 icicles pierced through the 2 people's bodies and flew into the void. Their bodies quickly healed and were as good as new. "You're too naive. You can't kill us with this method." The black-robed youth sneered disdainfully. Lin Xian frowned. "Physical attacks are ineffective. That means you're in a soul state." In the next moment, his soul power gushed out and formed 2 long swords that slashed forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! The soul power long swords slashed forward and hit the 2 people, but they didn't cause any substantial damage. Hee, don't waste your energy. You can't find where our souls are, so your soul power is useless in front of us. The woman in white laughed delicately. Whoosh! Lin Xian didn't say anything. His body instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind the two people. Two streaks of sword qi appeared in his palms and quickly enveloped the two people in front of him. Suddenly, the two people in front of him were sliced into dozens of pieces by the sword qi. However, the two people were still laughing. They were even mocking him with disdain. The places where their bodies had been split apart turned into countless black and white flames, which then quickly connected with each other. In the end, their bodies recovered once again. Don't waste your energy. We have the fire spirit body. We have no shape or form. You can't kill us at all. The black-robed man said disdainfully, Fire spirit body. Lin Xian frowned and didn't attack again. Indeed, he could feel the power of fire from the two people. Moreover, the two people didn't seem to be humans. They seemed to be creatures that mutated with fire. You're from the Divine Pill Hall. Lin Xian frowned and asked, In the Black Dragon religion, only the people from the Divine Pill Hall had fire. You guessed wrong again. We're not from the Divine Pill Hall. We were invited by pink families, you Luosha. Pink family? You Luosha? Lin Xian was puzzled. You don't know? The black-robed man snorted. It's fine if you don't know. Dead. People don't need to know so much. Kid, hurry up and hand over the blood soul stone. I can give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you burn in the fire and make you suffer a fate worse than death. Blood soul stone? I see. Lin Xian suddenly understood. He then sneered, Just two fire spirits. How dare you threaten me? You're courting death. You think I can't kill you just because you have no shape or form. Kid, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed man snorted. The white-robed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice, from the aura just now you can't freeze us. Kid, do you know what kind of fire we have? The black-robed man said proudly. Chapter 1372. Brett, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed youth snorted. The white-clothed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice, from the aura just now it can't freeze us. Brett, do you know what kind of flame we are? The black-robed youth said proudly. I'm the black dragon flame. It's evolved from the flame on the founder's body. How can a puny human like you compare to me? Kneel down and hand over the blood soul stone. Black dragon flame? No wonder it's so familiar. Lin Xian whispered. He felt a familiar flame aura from the black-robed man, but he didn't expect it to be from the founder of the Black Dragon religion. He had once used the black dragon flame before, but he had abandoned it later on. The black flame he was using now was the dark sky black flame, a flame even more terrifying than the black dragon flame. Since they were both flames, the dark sky bird was even more terrifying than the founder of the Black Dragon religion. Her flame couldn't be compared to his black flame, martial soul. Understanding all of this, a smile crept onto Lin Xian's lips. He looked at the white-clothed woman again and asked, If he's the black dragon flame, what kind of flame are you? There's no white-black dragon flame, right? Hee. Of course, I'm not the black dragon flame. The white-clothed woman laughed. Her voice was cold. I'm the spectral bone flame, a flame formed from the burning of countless experts' corpses. Although it's not the founder's black dragon flame, its power is definitely not weak. So, brat, you should obediently accept your death. Spectral bone flame? Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as killing intent appeared in his eyes. Indeed, the rise of the Black Dragon religion had killed countless creatures in the southern heaven region, and this white-clothed woman was the spectral bone flame condensed from those corpses. It was extremely strange. It was similar to the white Yin thunder in Lin Xian's hand. I see. I didn't expect the two of you to have such extraordinary origins. Lin Xian nodded. No wonder I couldn't kill you before. But since I already know your origins, there's no need to talk anymore. Now go to hell. Lin Xian's expression was cold and filled with killing intent. What did you say? You want us to go to hell? The two people in front sneered. Brat, do you know what you're saying? What an idiot. You are the first person who dares to boast like this after knowing our identity. Since you don't want to die obediently, don't blame us for being impolite. Their voices were filled with disdain. Then the black and white figures flashed and turned into two balls of black and white flames, quickly attacking Lin Xian. That terrifying aura caused the entire void to distort and crack. Lin Xian didn't retreat when he saw the two charging at him. Instead, he waved his hand and a ball of black flames appeared on his palm. Black fire. The black-robed man was stunned when he saw this. Then he sneered disdainfully. Brat, don't think that you can scare me by making the flame black. A flame like yours is nothing in my eyes. Before he could finish, the voice suddenly stopped. In the next moment, the black-robed man's pupils suddenly constricted, and he let out a shrill scream as if he had been heavily injured. What? How is that possible? How can you hurt me? He roared crazily. His nerves were twisted, and his face was filled with disbelief. Impossible, that's impossible. There's no flame in this world that can hurt me. I'm the sect leader's origin flame. He was crazy. He was really crazy. He was evolved from the flame of the Black Dragon sect leader. It was extremely terrifying. Even the Sky Prides would have a headache when they saw it. However, the other party had hurt him. He found it hard to believe because something like this had never happened before. At the side, the woman in white was also stunned. What? How is that possible? You hurt the dragon flame? Brat, how did you do it? A look of shock appeared on her delicate face. What is that black flame in your hand? How can it compete with the sect leader's flame? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Humph. You're just a black dragon. How dare you call yourself a dragon? You must have a death wish. What? How dare you say that about the black sect leader? Damn it, aren't you a disciple of the Saint sect? At that moment, the woman in white and the black-robed young man were stunned. They had not expected the young man in front of them to be so arrogant as to insult the sect leader. This was definitely a capital offense in the Saint sect, unless the other party was not a member of the Saint sect. There's no need to know so much about a dying person, Lin Xian said coldly. Then he quickly stretched his palm forward. You must have a death wish. You're too presumptuous. The two of them were enraged and attacked crazily. They had said the same thing to Lin Xian before. They had not expected him to use it back. The black-robed young man roared. His body quickly melted and turned into a black dragon. It roared in the air and rushed toward Lin Xian. The woman in white also turned into a ball of white flame. She exuded an extremely cold aura and flew forward quickly. Lin Xian was expressionless. He said in a low voice, Black flame, martial soul, materialize. In the next moment, countless black lines appeared on his body. From those lines, balls of black flame surged out and jumped around his body. Not only that, 2 pairs of black flame wings appeared on Lin Xian's back. They spread out quickly like the wings of a devil. At the same time, a terrifying heat burst out from his body and swept through the entire space. Lin Xian released his black flame martial soul and punched out. Suddenly, countless black flames condensed and formed a strange black bird that flew forward. If the people of the Tianwu continent were here, they would definitely scream. The heavenly netherbird. That's right. Lin Xian's black flame martial soul came from the heavenly netherbird. At that moment, he used the black flames to condense the heavenly netherbird's appearance and quickly rushed forward. In the next moment, the 3 balls of flames collided with each other and released a terrifying energy fluctuation. Then, from the center of the energy, a man and a woman screamed. It was so miserable that it made people tremble. Impossible. How can you have such a terrifying flame? Who are you? Damn it. What kind of flame is this? The two of them roared crazily, but soon their voices disappeared. Not only that, their auras also disappeared. Only Lin Xian's black flames were left in the sky, burning fiercely. As for those two fire spirits, they never appeared again. Under Lin Xian's control, the 9 nether black flames quickly spread and burned all the blood and corpses in the surroundings. Then they returned to Lin Xian's body. Soon, the entire space returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Other than Lin Xian, no one knew that a great battle had happened here. Chapter 1373. Author's note: I vomited blood and exploded. Seeing that I'm so hardworking, everyone, please support me. Please subscribe. Soon, the entire void returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Other than Lin Xian, no one else knew that a great battle had taken place here. I didn't expect the Black Dragon sect to have such a strange creature like the fire spirit. I wonder what other surprises there will be at the Octatic Treasure chess game tomorrow. Lin Xian muttered to himself. Then he disappeared in a flash. In fact, while Lin Xian was fighting with these people in another secret room, Nangong Hao, Blood Rogue, Ghostly, and several other prodigies were gathered together. Among them, Nangong Hao said in a deep voice, "This time we have sent out the elites of each hall. Even we will have a headache if we work together. With that kid's strength, it is impossible for him to survive. It's too easy for him to die just like that. If it weren't for the Octatic Treasure chess game tomorrow, I would have killed him myself." Blood Rogue snorted. Ghostly was also disappointed. Sigh, what a pity. Such a good soul is wasted just like that. However, Shadowless looked serious. You're too confident. According to my observation, Hua Wufeng is indeed powerful. He's not any weaker than us. Therefore, it was better not to make a decision so soon. At the side, Ziyang also nodded. He kept having a bad premonition. However, Yu Luocha smiled disdainfully. No matter what your people do, that kid will definitely die today. You're that confident. Blood Rogue glanced at her. I know what you're planning. You all want that Blood Soul Stone. But let me tell you, that Blood Soul Stone is definitely mine. You're too confident. Ghostly sneered. Of course, because for the sake of preparing for the unexpected, I've invited 2 fire spirits. What? You invited fire spirits? Hearing that, everyone's expression changed. Blood Rogue, Nangong Hao, and the rest jumped to their feet. They were very excited. They were all elite elites. Naturally, they knew what Yu Luocha meant by fire spirits. You crazy woman, what price did you pay to even invite the fire spirit? Ghostly's expression was cold. At the side, Bloodhand's expression was unsightly as well, because in this way they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stone at all. However, Yu Luocha smiled sweetly. No matter the price, the Blood Soul Stone must be mine. As they were talking, they suddenly felt an extremely majestic power coming from afar. At this moment, an extremely hot aura came from afar. Sensing this aura, Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, Ghostly, and the others' faces turned ugly. However, Yu Luocha laughed. It seems like these 2 fire spirits have taken action. Since they have taken action, it means that your people are already dead. Humph. Nangong Zhong, Hao snorted coldly. His expression was extremely cold. He didn't expect the other party to be so powerful to be able to kill the experts he sent out. Bloodhand and Ghostly's expressions were even more gloomy. This wasn't good news to them. In this way, they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stones at all. Damn it! How can that Hua Wufeng be so strong? Kill all the assassins we sent out. How long has it been? Even if it were us, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to finish it off so quickly. That damned guy is really hard to deal with. We were too careless this time. Low voices rang out one after another. At this moment, Yu Luocha stood up and said, "Everyone, you can slowly regret it. I'm going to collect the blood soul stones." "Why are you in such a hurry? The battle isn't over yet. Although the fire spirits have taken action, it doesn't mean that you'll definitely succeed." Blood Hand said coldly, "Are you out of your mind?" Yu Luocha snorted. "How dare you doubt the fire spirit's actions? Do you know what a fire spirit is?" Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Indeed, the fire spirit stone was extremely terrifying. Even they might not be able to win, let alone Hua Wufeng. Soon, the blazing aura in the distance disappeared and the world returned to peace. The smile on Yu Luocha's face grew wider. "It's over. I didn't expect that kid to be so weak. It's over in such a short period of time. Everyone, I'm going to collect the blood soul stones. See you at the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow." Yu Luocha chuckled and walked out of the door. However, Nangong Hao and the others looked gloomy. He flung his sleeve and left quickly. After that, the others also left one after another. Although the assassination attempt had failed and they were very upset, they had no intention of taking action because there was still the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow. As long as they could win the Octatic treasure chest game, their previous failure was nothing. The night passed quickly. The next day, the southern wilderness ancient town was bustling with activity again. Many disciples were discussing what had happened yesterday. Not everyone could enter the auction. Most ordinary disciples could not enter at all. Therefore, they did not know much about what had happened yesterday. It was not until today that the news had spread through the crowd's discussion. "You're saying that someone attacked Nangong Hao and the others yesterday? That someone stole all the treasures? Oh my God, I'm not dreaming, am I?" "It's true. I was there yesterday, and I saw how flustered and exasperated those sky prides were. I've never seen such an expression in my life. That Hua Wufeng is too powerful. He managed to steal the treasures from so many sky prides without anyone noticing." "Humph. So what if he's powerful? He's already dead." Someone sneered. "What? Dead?" The crowd was in an uproar. "Are you kidding? How could such a powerful person be dead? What do you know?" "There was an intense battle last night. That kid must have died without a burial place. I'm afraid there's not even a corpse left." "What? There was an intense battle last night? How could that happen? Why didn't I feel anything at all? It must have been a top-notch expert. Such an intense battle did not cause any ripples. He's too powerful." The crowd was shocked and asked one after another. Finally, they understood what had happened. It turned out that the various halls and top-notch sky prides had sent out terrifying experts to kill Hua Wufeng. It was even rumored that the fire spirit had made a move. In other words, there was no chance of him surviving. Sigh, that Hua Wufeng is too arrogant. He offended so many sky prides at the same time. Otherwise, he should still be alive. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those sky prides sent out people who did not hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, the Pink family sent out Hua Ling to kill him. That's why. Forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family, because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Hua Wufeng is a living example. Chapter 1374. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those people sent by those sky prides didn't hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, it was the fire spirit sent by the Pink family that destroyed him. That's why. Forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family, because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Hua Wufeng is a living example. Everyone trembled when they heard about the Pink family. That's right. Even someone as strong as Hua Wufing, who could fight against the various sky prides, was powerless in front of the Pink family. It had to be said that this was too shocking. Forget it. Let's not talk about him. Today is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference. The Octadic Treasure chess game will be the highlight. That's right. The top sky prides from the various halls will definitely fight at the Octadic Treasure chess game. I'm afraid you won't be able to see such an intense battle normally. It's because the Octadic Treasure chess game is on the third day that those top sky prides didn't fight. Otherwise, Hua Wufing wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Any sky prides could easily destroy him. That makes sense. All right, let's go. Let's go to the Octadic Treasure chess game. If we're late, we won't be able to see the fun. Everyone moved and headed towards the center of the southern wilderness ancient town. The Octadic Treasure chess game was a formation. To be precise, it was an ancient formation. Looking down from the sky, the formation looked like a chessboard. That was why it was called the Octadic Treasure chess game. In fact, it was related to chess. The formation had a total of 8 positions, and each position could allow one martial artist to stand. The martial artists would use themselves as chess pieces and battle techniques as a chessboard to move around. Not only did they have to fight against the enemies created by the formation, but they also had to fight against 7 other martial artists. It was a very dangerous formation. The leader of the Black Dragon religion used the mysterious crystal as a reward and integrated it into the formation. Then, he let the disciples of the religion kill each other. Only the winner would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal. It could be said that this was a very cruel elimination mechanism. However, it gave everyone hope. As long as they were strong enough to win the Octadic Treasure chess game, they would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal and increase their cultivation. Now, all the martial artists in the entire southern desolate ancient town were rushing in the direction of the early Octet Treasure chess game. On the other side, in the Drunken Immortal Inn, Lin Xian opened his eyes. After killing those assassins yesterday, he returned to his room and began to absorb the power of the Blood Soul Stone. It had to be said that these Blood Soul Stones were truly miraculous, worthy of those Black Dragon cult's experts fighting over them. In just one night, Lin Xian could feel his blood essence and soul power growing. One had to know that this was an extremely rare occurrence. This was because his Furious Dragon Incantation and Sky Spill visualization diagram had both reached a bottleneck and were temporarily unable to break through. In other words, his blood chi and soul power had reached the peak. Unless he made another breakthrough and entered the 9th heavenly layer, it would be impossible for his soul power to increase again. Now, with just one Blood Soul Stone, his blood chi and soul power had improved in one night. One had to admit that it was simply too miraculous. With a flip of his palm, Lin Xian put the Blood Soul Stone into his storage ring. In just one night, I've absorbed about 1/5 of the Blood Soul Stone's energy. The effect is very obvious. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. However, he could not absorb anymore because he wanted to see what this so-called Octadic chess game was. Southern Desolation Ancient Town, Octadic chess game. The ground in front rose high, forming a unique plateau. On top of it, there were crisscrossing straight lines that intersected with each other. From the sky, it looked like a huge chessboard. On the chessboard, a cold light flickered, releasing a primitive power that made one's heart palpitate. Around the chessboard, a sea of people had gathered. Countless people stretched their necks and looked forward. At the front, a few figures stood proudly. They were the geniuses of the various halls. Nangong Hao was dressed in a robe and had an arrogant expression. When he saw Yu Luosha coming from behind, he immediately snorted. It was obvious that he was still brooding over yesterday's incident. On the side, Blood Hand's eyes flickered. He said in a deep voice, "In a while, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a wager on the Octadic chess game? If you dare to take it out, I can guarantee that the Blood Soul Stone will be mine." On the other side, Ghostly sneered. "You Luosha," snorted coldly. There was a layer of ice on her exquisite face. It was obvious that she was not happy. The next moment she said coldly, "I won't use the Blood Soul Stone as a wager because it's not in my hands now." "Not in your hands?" Nangong How was stunned. Blood Hand sneered. "If you don't dare to take it out, then forget it. Why lie like this? Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Yu Luosha frowned and stared at Blood Hand. "What's going on? Tell me quickly." Ghost Li's expression was cold because Yu Luosha did not seem to be lying. Could something have happened? "The Blood Soul Stone is indeed not in my hands because the 2 fire spirits did not return yesterday." "What? Did not return? How is that possible?" In the distance, Shadowless also frowned. "Do you know the reason?" "Could it be that those 2 fellows also wanted the Blood Soul Stone, so they did not give it to you?" "Impossible. They are fire spirits. They do not need the Blood Soul Stone. What they need is Huoyan. So it is impossible for them to take the Blood Soul Stone. I think there must be another reason why they did not come." Yu Luosha said solemnly. "Then what is the reason? The 2 fire spirits are incomparably powerful. No one can subdue them, right?" Blood Hand was puzzled. "Not necessarily. In this southern desolation ancient village, there is still one person who can subdue the 2 of them." "Who?" "City Lord." Yu Luosha gritted her teeth and said, "If the City Lord makes a move, I'm afraid the 2 fire spirits will not be able to resist." "You're saying that the City Lord also wants the Blood Soul Stone?" Ghost Li's expression became extremely ugly. "Why not? The Blood Soul Stone is useful to everyone. He is also a supremacy. Naturally, he also needs the Blood Soul Stone." Yu Luocha's voice was cold as she sneered. "Just you wait. In any case, the elders from the various factions will be here today. When the time comes, I don't believe that the City Lord will be able to withstand the wrath of my pink family. When the time comes, I'll make him spit it out the same way he ate it." Everyone discussed. From the beginning to the end, they did not think that it was Lin Xian who made a move, because in their opinion, Lin Xian was already dead. It was impossible for him to defeat the fire spirits. The few geniuses were gloomy and their expressions were somewhat gloomy. At this moment, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon, a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. As the voice fell, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them changed. On the crisscrossing chessboard, black and white chess pieces appeared one after another. Chapter 1375. At that moment, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them suddenly emitted a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon, a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. As the voice fell, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them changed. Black and white chess pieces appeared on the crisscrossing chessboard. Everyone held their breaths as their eyes shone with a fiery light. The most crucial moment had finally arrived. Although most of them were unable to participate, it was worth it to be able to see a battle between geniuses. At that moment, Elder Linghu also appeared in the void. He looked down and said coldly, "Now, the octatic treasure chessboard begins. All geniuses, please enter." Nangong Hao, 2nd Division Leader of the Divine Pill Hall, Qiannan position. As his voice fell, Nangong Hao's face was filled with arrogance as he strode forward. Blood Hand, 1st Division Leader of the Blood Fiend Hall, Kuin North position. Blood Hand was dressed in a blood-red robe. His expression was incomparably cold, and his body was surrounded by a blood-red aura. He was like a god of death as he came to the north. Gue Li, 1st Division Leader of the Malicious Ghost Hall, Li Dan position. Dressed in a black robe, Gue Li's face was pale, and his eyes were emitting a dark green light. In a flash, he arrived above the octatic treasure chessboard and looked down. Pink family, Yuluosha, Kuin West position. Yuluosha was dressed in a pink dress and wore a charming posture as she floated above. Purple Demon Hall, 1st Division, Leader Ziyang. DUI, Southeast position. Ziyang's face was solemn as he flew forward like a purple ray of light. Assassination Hall, 1st Division Leader Wuing, Zun, Northeast position. As his voice fell, a figure had already appeared above the octatic treasure chessboard. It was Wuing. He was like a ghost, and no one knew how he appeared. Black Wind Hall, 1st Division Leader Feng Hudi, Sin Southwest position. It was a woman. She was dressed in black armor and had a sharp aura around her. She did not appear much before, but now that she appeared, her powerful aura suppressed everyone. Buzz, like a black hurricane, she quickly arrived above them. Her powerful aura was like an invisible wave that swept in all directions. Last person, Southern Ancient Town, Guyuan, Gen Northwest position. As her voice fell, a handsome young man appeared before everyone. His aura was very powerful. He had also reached the 9th heaven of the Venerable Realm. His eyes were like lightning, and his aura was no weaker than that of the previous geniuses. He was from the southern, desolate ancient town, the city, Lord's Mansion. Gu Yuan laughed coldly and also strode into the formation. At this point, the 8 positions on the octatic treasure chessboard were all filled with people. Beneath their feet, 8 rays of light flickered. On the chessboard in front of them, there were different black and white chess pieces floating, shining with a strange light. However, the octatic treasure chess game did not begin immediately. Instead, Elder Linghu announced loudly, "The previous 8 people are the 8 representatives that we have chosen. They are the strongest geniuses of the younger generation. However, there are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in our saint sect. We don't know all of them, so if anyone wants to participate in the octatic treasure chess game, you can step forward now. Every martial artist has one chance to challenge the 8 people on the stage. However, I would like to give everyone a word of advice. The challenge is dangerous. If you are killed in the process, we will not intervene. I hope that everyone will be cautious." Of course, the entire challenge process only lasted for 30 minutes. After that, the octatic treasure chess game would begin. As soon as Elder Linghu finished speaking, someone below lit a stick of sandalwood. Immediately, smoke rose into the air. After the initial shock, the surrounding martial artists fell silent. Pairs of eyes scanned the 8 geniuses in front of them. However, no one dared to make a move. To be honest, the 8 people in front of them were basically the strongest of the younger generation of the Black Dragon sect. Among them, there were 6 top geniuses of the hall. One of them was from the pink aristocratic family. The other was from the city, Lord's Mansion. The 2 of them had powerful auras. They had reached the 9th heaven of the Venerable Realm at such a young age. They were definitely not weaker than any of the geniuses. As for the other 2 halls, Lin Xian had killed many of the Azura Hall's martial artists. However, their main forces had yet to arrive. Therefore, no outstanding geniuses had appeared. The most puzzling one was the Nether Hall. Although the Nether Hall was the weakest force among the 8 halls, they should have 1 or 2 outstanding martial artists. However, there seemed to be no sign of the Nether Hall in the entire convention. Although everyone was puzzled, they did not suspect anything. After all, they would never believe that the Nether Hall had been destroyed. Although there was a chance to challenge them, the convention was eerily quiet. No one went up. Nan Gong had his hands behind his back. He looked arrogant and did not even look at the crowd. He knew that no one dared to challenge him. Yu Luasha's eyes were like hooks as she smiled at the crowd below. No one came out? That's really disappointing. Ghostly also let out a cold laugh. Is there really no one who came out to challenge me? I still want to add a few more souls to my white bone banner. Hearing this, everyone trembled. Judging from the other party's appearance, if they really challenged him, they would probably be killed in an instant. Even their souls would not be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Although everyone was afraid, after the silence, someone still made a move. It was a young man with a determined expression. He was tall and straight and wore a red robe. However, he was not from the Blood Fiend Hall. He used to be from a 5th grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. However, he had now joined the Black Dragon sect. The young man held a pair of fiery red rings in his hands and strode forward. Guokai, it's actually him. It was a young man with a determined expression. He was tall and straight and wore a red robe. However, he was not from the Blood Fiend Hall. He used to be from a 5th grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. However, he had now joined the Black Dragon sect. The young man held a pair of fiery red rings in his hands and strode forward. Guokai, it's actually him. He used to be from the Heavenly Fire sect. He can be considered a genius. I wonder who he wants to challenge. Many people's eyes flickered. They were very excited. Seeing that someone had come out, the people on the octatic treasure chessboard all looked down. Suddenly, Guokai felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. It was as if he was going to be crushed. He shouted coldly and quickly circulated the spiritual power in his body. Only then did he block the 8 gazes. Humph! Nangong Hao sneered and shook his head. He no longer paid attention. He could see that the other party also used a fire attribute cultivation technique. However, compared to his, the other party's flames were not worth mentioning. Therefore, he was not interested at all. Guokai naturally knew his own strength. Therefore, he challenged Ghostly. This was because he cultivated a fire attribute cultivation technique. It was extremely strong and yang. On the other hand, Ghostly cultivated the Ghost Dao. It could be said that it was extremely cold and was perfectly restrained by flames. Therefore, Guokai wanted to give it a try. Chapter 1376. Guokai naturally knew his own strength, which was why he challenged Ghostly. That was because he cultivated a fire elemental cultivation technique, which was extremely yang. On the other hand, Ghostly cultivated the Ghost Dao, which was extremely cold and was perfectly countered by flames. In other words, among the 8 geniuses above, only Ghostly had the opposite attribute to him. This was also his only chance. That was why Guokai wanted to give it a try, seeing that he was going to be challenged. Ghostly immediately sneered and let out a chuckle. 2 balls of green flames danced in his eyes as he stared at Guokai below. Peak 8th rank supremacy? Not bad, not bad. It seems that you can strengthen my white bone banner again. His voice was filled with coldness and confidence. In his opinion, the other party was a delicious delicacy that could strengthen his white bone banner. That was all. Many people trembled when they heard this, and fear appeared on their faces. However, Guokai snorted coldly. Since he had already decided to challenge, he did not hesitate. In the next moment, an unparalleled power erupted from his body. It was incomparably hot, and his entire body was like a god of fire, extremely dazzling. The terrifying heat wave was like a tide that slapped in all directions, immediately causing everyone to retreat in shock. That aura was very terrifying. Although it was slightly inferior to the geniuses above, it was far superior to the others. From this point, it could be seen that Guokai had the qualifications to challenge. Guokai held 2 red iron rings in his hands and quickly collided in the air. The red rings were very special. They were about the size of a bowl and were extremely red. There were strange inscriptions engraved on them. With a light wave, countless runes flashed and surrounded them. At a glance, one could tell that it was a treasure. Clang! The red rings collided with a crisp sound, as if metal had collided. Not only that, during the collision, countless flames converged and formed a flame lizard that quickly rushed forward. The lizard was very large, and its entire body was formed by flames. Its head was like a giant dragon's and was extremely ferocious. As soon as it appeared, it carried an extremely terrifying aura and quickly charged towards Ghostly. Haha, you're too naive. Do you think that your little flames can suppress me? Ghostly sneered. If it was Nangong Hao who attacked, then he would naturally have to go all out. However, the young man in front of him was only at the peak of the 8th rank supremacy. He was far inferior to him, so he did not take him seriously. He stretched out his palm, intending to grab something in front of him. Suddenly, the void cracked, and a huge white bone claw appeared out of thin air, quickly slapping forward. Pum! The claw landed on the gigantic flame lizard, shattering its head. Countless flames were torn apart and scattered all over the ground. Guo Kai's pupils shrank. He didn't expect his all-out attack to be countered so quickly. With a cold snort, his expression was incomparably gloomy as he decided to use his ultimate move again. However, Ghostly did not give him the chance. After his attack succeeded, he waved his hand and a white bone banner appeared out of thin air. It immediately emanated an incomparably cold aura. Countless vengeful spirits and ghosts circled around it, a scene that would make one's scalp tingle. Brat, since you dare to challenge me, then obediently become my soul. Ghostly Ning laughed. His pale, white hand grabbed the white bone banner and waved it forward. Instantly, countless vengeful spirits gathered, forming a huge skull that bit towards Guo Kai. Damn it, scram! Seeing the skull rushing towards him, Guo Kai roared angrily. Flames bloomed all over his body, forming a flaming giant that blasted upwards. However, it was useless this time. The flames that he was so proud of had lost their luster at this moment. The white skull was extremely terrifying as it was not afraid of the flames. Not only that, the gloomy ghost aura on it quickly extinguished the flaming giant. What? It's not afraid of the flames? How is that possible? Guo Kai's pupils shrank. He didn't believe it at all because, in his knowledge, ghosts were all afraid of flames. However, the current situation was the exact opposite. Humph! Ignorant fool, what do you know? Ghostly sneered, then used his strength again. Instantly, the white skull enveloped Guo Kai. Countless miserable cries rang out, piercing through the heavens and earth. In an instant, Guo Kai was swallowed until not even his bones were left. His soul was also extracted and integrated into the white bone banner, forming another vengeful spirit. Ghostly smiled and waved his hand, retrieving the white bone banner. The soul of an 8th heaven supremacy. Not bad. Not bad. It's indeed delicious. Hearing those cold words, everyone's scalp tingled. Shocking. It was really too shocking. That was an 8th heaven supremacy martial artist, but he couldn't even withstand a single move. Could it be that these geniuses were already so powerful? Who else? Hurry up and come. Ghostly had tasted the sweetness and was naturally excited. His dark green eyes swept around, but no one dared to look at him. Everyone was speechless and the scene was silent. After a moment of silence, another person walked out of the crowd. It was a burly man. He was 2 meters tall, and his body was as strong as an ox. His bronze skin shone with the radiance of strength under the sun. Chun Shan, at 8th heaven supremacy, had boundless strength. The person he challenged was not Ghostly, but the first leader of the Ravengale Hall, Feng Huti. Seeing that it was not him, Ghostly snorted coldly, feeling extremely unhappy. When he saw that the other party was challenging Pink Butterfly, he immediately smiled sinisterly. I say, little butterfly, can you give me his soul later? Give it to you. Let you grow stronger. Humph. Feng Huti snorted coldly. Feng Huti, the first leader of the Ravengale Hall, was dressed in black armor. She was very beautiful, and there was a heroic spirit between her eyebrows. She held a black spear in her hand, and she looked like a black demon king. Her beautiful eyes were like lightning as she scanned the crowd, and she said coldly, "I'll give you one chance to attack. I advise you to attack with all your strength, because you only have one chance. Roar." Below, the burly man roared angrily, and instantly, a terrifying power surged out from his body. His body, which was originally 2 meters tall, suddenly grew taller and became a 3-meter giant. Not only that, but the muscles all over his body bulged, and fine scales appeared on the surface, covering his entire body in an instant. In an instant, the burly man had become an extremely sinister monster. With a roar, the air exploded. With a stomp of his foot, countless air waves suddenly exploded, and his body was like a cannonball, instantly shooting upwards. What terrifying power! He's already not weaker than a ninth heaven supremacy. Everyone was shocked, as they did not expect such an expert to be hidden in the crowd. However, looking at this scene, Feng Hudi's delicate face was extremely cold. Then, she held the black spear in her hand and stabbed it out. Chapter 1377. Looking at this scene, Feng Hudi's delicate face was very cold. Then, she held the black spear in her hand and stabbed it out. Puff! Blood spurted out, and the scene froze in midair. A 3-meter tall giant with shocking power tore apart the sky and smashed the earth. It was extremely terrifying, and at this moment it was pierced by a black spear and nailed to the void. Blood dripped down from the spear tip and fell to the ground, creating countless blood flowers. Humph! Feng Hudi put away her spear, and the giant body fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Silence, complete silence. Everyone was silent. They did not expect the first leader of the Ravengale Hall to be so powerful. One had to know that the other party did not reveal his strength at all. He did not even appear in front of everyone. But now his attack was like thunder, shocking everyone. Not only the martial artists below, but even the other geniuses on the octatic treasure chess game were shocked. They did not expect that the Ravengale Hall, which had always kept a low profile, would have such a powerful figure. Ghost Lee's face was also ugly. His green eyes emitted a cold light. Soul Destroyer Spear. I did not expect you to have cultivated the Soul Destroyer Spear. He was simply too shocked because the soul of the dead man had been completely destroyed. There was nothing left of him at all. Only a soul attack could cause such damage. But the other party did not use any soul attack at all. She only used a spear. Other than the Soul Destroyer Spear, he could not think of any other spear technique. You know quite a lot, but don't fight me when the time comes. Otherwise, I will destroy all your souls with one spear. Feng Hudi snorted and put away her spear. Humph! Ghost Lee's face was cold. The other party's spear technique seemed to have restrained his souls. But if they really fought, he would not be afraid. With Ghost Lee and Feng Hudi attacking one after another, they killed their opponents in one move. The scene once again fell into silence. And after this, no one dared to challenge again. The 8 people on the stage were too powerful. They were not people they could compete with. Even the 8th highest peak venerable could not withstand one move. If they went up, they would only be courting death. Time passed slowly. The incense stick was about to burn out. But at this moment a voice drifted over. How could I miss out on such a grand occasion? Those 8 in the arena, if you don't want to die, give me a spot so that I won't start a massacre. Although this voice was light as a feather, it contained boundless arrogance, making one of the 8 sky prides on the stage withdraw. If this wasn't arrogance, then what was? Remember that the 8 people on stage were all top-notch Heaven's favorites. Nobody could fight against them. But now, there was someone who didn't care at all. He even dared to threaten them. This was beyond everyone's expectations. Therefore, in the next moment, everyone turned around, wanting to see which madman dared to say such a thing. However, when they saw the figure behind them, they were all stunned. Hua Wufeng? How could it be him? Isn't he dead? What's going on? Could it be that he's not dead? Everyone was extremely shocked because the person behind him was none other than Lin Xian. Of course, his current name was Hua Wufeng. Everyone cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that this incomparably arrogant devil would appear again. Thus, everyone automatically opened up a path. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up as he strode forward. On the octatic treasure chessboard, Nangong Hao and the others were stunned when they saw this, especially Yu Luosha. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. What? Not dead? You're not dead? How is this possible? It's really you. Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and the others were also extremely shocked. Not dead, you're not dead. Yu Luosha recovered from her initial shock. Then, her delicate face was filled with viciousness. Why didn't the two fire spirits come back? What did you do to them? Yu Luosha shouted coldly. She finally knew why the fire spirits didn't come back. It was because they weren't dead. Hua Wufeng's appearance also meant that the fire spirit's assassination had failed. However, Lin Xian sneered, "Come back? The dead can't come back." What? You killed them? Hearing this, Yu Luosha was extremely shocked and screamed. She couldn't help it. She was too shocked because she didn't believe that someone from the younger generation could kill the fire spirits. At this moment, not only Yu Luosha, but Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, Ghostly, and the others were also shocked and couldn't believe it. Even they weren't confident that they could kill the fire spirits. However, Lin Xian had done it. This was indeed a huge blow to them. Humph, don't be so arrogant. I don't know what tricks you used to kill the two fire spirits. However, since you dared to kill them, you're definitely dead. Just you wait. Once the octatic treasure chessboard is over, you won't be able to escape. Yu Luosha's face was filled with viciousness. The other Sky Prides were also filled with murderous intent because not only did Lin Xian snatch the Blood Soul Stone, he also snatched all the treasures that they had won, especially Nangong Hao, who had always been conceited and wanted to be above everyone else. However, Lin Xian had snatched his precious spiritual medicine. Wasn't that a slap to his face? At this moment, when he saw Lin Xian, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Lin Xian didn't care about those murderous gazes. He looked to the front and said coldly, "If any of you retreat consciously, I can spare your lives. Otherwise, if I attack, I'm afraid you won't end up so well." How dare you? How arrogant! Kid, you're too arrogant. The Sky Prides on Lin Xian's stage were going crazy. Meanwhile, the surrounding crowd was extremely shocked. Perhaps only Lin Xian dared to speak to the Sky Prides like that. Seeing that no one moved, Lin Xian's gaze was cold as he scanned the surroundings. Then he stretched out his finger. "How about this? I'll challenge whoever I choose." Everyone was speechless. That was too arrogant. That was because the 8 people on the stage were all top-notch Sky Prides. Even if someone wanted to challenge them, they would have to combine their skills and see who they could restrain before making a move. However, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He even chose randomly. If that wasn't arrogance, then what was? Nangong Hao and the others were infuriated by Lin Xian's actions, but no one said anything. That was because, from what had happened before, Lin Xian's strength was definitely not weaker than theirs. At the very least, he could kill 2 fire spirits. One had to know that fire spirits were extremely special existences. They weren't humans in the first place, but were formed by flames. They didn't have a physical body and couldn't be killed by physical attacks. Soul attacks had no effect on them either. They couldn't figure out how Lin Xian had killed the fire spirits. However, they were certain that Lin Xian's strength was definitely not weaker than any of them. Therefore, facing Lin Xian's challenge, all of them were extremely nervous. "I'll choose whoever Little Rooster points to." Lin Xian's finger pointed at the 8 people. His words made Nangong Hao, Ghostly, and the others' faces turn black. "It's you. Finally, Lin Xian pointed at a figure. Chapter 1378. I'll choose whoever Little Rooster points to. Lin Xian pointed at the 8 people. His words made Nangong Hao ghostly, and the others' faces turned black. It's you. Finally, Lin Xian pointed at a figure. Who was it? Everyone craned their necks and looked carefully. What? It's him. Then a series of exclamations sounded. It was the first leader of the Purple Demon Hall, Ziyang. Seeing that Ziyang was chosen, Nangong Hao and the others heaved a sigh of relief. The crowd was in an uproar. They didn't expect Lin Xian's final opponent to be Ziyang from the Purple Demon Hall. Ziyang, I didn't expect it to be him. He's an expert in soul power. His purple demon eyes are extremely strange. Although Hua Wufing's combat strength was strong, his soul power didn't seem to be outstanding. Now that he's up against Ziyang, I'm afraid he'll be in trouble. Indeed, Lin Xian had only displayed his lightning and ice attributes. He hadn't displayed his soul power. Therefore, no one knew how strong Lin Xian's soul power was. Everyone had different expressions. Ziyang's face was even gloomier. He didn't expect that he would be the one to fight Lin Xian. Ziyang's face was extremely ugly. He didn't expect Lin Xian to choose him. In the next moment, everyone's eyes were on him, especially the other 7 geniuses on the platform. They were all looking at him with playful smiles on their faces. Feeling their gazes, Ziyang's face turned even gloomier. To be honest, the Purple Demon Hall wasn't the strongest in the Black Dragon sect. At most, it was a mid-tier hall. Compared to Blood Rogue, Nangong Hao, and the others, he was slightly weaker. However, Lin Xian, who was in front of them, had dodged the encirclement of the elites from the various halls and had even killed 2 fire spirits. He knew that he couldn't achieve such a result. He was even more shocked when he saw that Lin Xian was full of energy. His aura was sharp, and he didn't look tired at all. That was because he had sent an expert from the Purple Demon Hall yesterday. He was very proficient in illusions. Furthermore, that old man was a veteran of 100 battles. He would definitely find the best opportunity to strike. Even for geniuses like them, if they were to be ambushed, they would most likely fall for his illusions. At that time, although he would be able to escape, his soul power would definitely be severely damaged. Even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. This was the power of the Purple Demon Hall. But now, it seemed that the other party had not received any damage at all. It was as if he had not been affected by the illusion. This caused Ziyang to be extremely shocked. He knew that there were only 2 possibilities. The first was that the other party was too terrifying, and experts he sent out were killed before they could even use their illusions. If this was true, it meant that the other party's strength was far beyond his imagination. Even if he attacked with his full strength, he might not be able to resist. The second situation was that although the other party was hit by an illusion attack, they could easily break it, so they didn't suffer any injuries. If that was the case, it would be even more shocking. One had to know that the other party had already displayed a valiant fighting strength. If he also had an extremely strong soul force, then such a person would have no weakness. It could be said to be heaven-defying. Then it was even more impossible for him to attack. Because even if his illusions were stronger than the old man in purple robes, he might not be able to do anything to the other party. After thinking about it, Ziyang felt bitter because he realized that no matter what the situation was, the other party was stronger than him. If he attacked, he would lose without a doubt. Based on the other party's previous form, no one could escape unscathed. They were either humiliated by him or killed on the spot. Thinking of this, Ziyang took a deep breath. His face was terrifyingly dark. He didn't want to be killed by the other party, nor did he want to be pressed to the ground and kowtowed in front of everyone. Hence, he decided to retreat. There's no need to compete. I'll give you this position, Ziyang said in a low voice. Then his body swayed, and he left the octatic treasure chest game. What? He retreated? Seeing this scene, everyone was stupefied, not daring to believe it. I'm not dreaming, am I? Zi Yang actually took the initiative to retreat. Heavens! Has that Hua Wufing become so terrifying? Even the top geniuses don't dare to fight him. He retreated without a fight. Is Zi Yang crazy? Everyone exclaimed. They couldn't understand. The other 7 geniuses were also stunned. Even their minds were blank. That was Zi Yang. He was a top genius, just like them. Moreover, he specialized in illusion attacks. It was very strange and impossible to guard against. Even they had to be extremely careful against such a person. Originally, they wanted to use this battle to find out more about Lin Xian. However, they didn't expect Zi Yang to retreat. Retreating without a fight, this was an outcome that they didn't expect at all. Damn it, what is Zi Yang doing? Blood Hand said coldly. Humph, a piece of trash. Nangong Hao snorted in disdain. His expression was full of disdain. Hee. Ghostly laughed sinisterly. His eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. The other geniuses had different expressions. However, without exception, their eyes were full of disdain. To them, Zi Yang's actions were too cowardly. Not only did he embarrass the Purple Demon Hall, but he also embarrassed the entire Black Dragon sect. Damn piece of trash. He's as timid as a mouse. Such a person doesn't deserve to stand with us. Hearing the disdainful voices of the other 7 geniuses, Zi Yang's face darkened. He was so angry that his body trembled. His fists were tightly clenched. These words were like poisonous thorns that pierced his heart. He couldn't stand it. There was even a moment when he wanted to charge forward. However, when he thought of the results of his analysis, he stopped himself and didn't go forward. Lin Xian was also very surprised. He looked at Zi Yang in surprise, then nodded slightly. Interesting. Not bad. You can actually recognize the situation and know when to advance and retreat. You're not too stupid. If that's the case, I'll spare your life. After saying that, Lin Xian swayed and went to the spot that Zi Yang had vacated. He went up. He really went up. When the crowd saw Lin Xian go up to the octatic treasure chessboard, they were all in an uproar. To be honest, they had never heard of Lin Xian's name before. They also didn't know that such a person existed. It wasn't until the Dark and Light convention where he appeared in an extremely arrogant manner that they learned of such a person. After that, the other party's actions were even more shocking. First, he looked down on Nangong Hao and made him refine pills. Then, the next day, he killed the Shura Hall's elder. He even beat up the Bloodfiend Hall. Not only that, but after that, he also avoided the assassination attempts of various geniuses. It could be said that in just 2 days, Lin Xian's reputation had soared. It even overshadowed those geniuses. Now that they saw him go up, they were even more excited. Although the conflict was intense, Lin Xian didn't directly fight with those geniuses. Therefore, they didn't know who was stronger and who was weaker. However, today this mystery would be revealed. Chapter 1379. Now that they saw him enter the arena, they were even more excited. Although the conflict had been intense, Lin Xian had not directly fought with those sky prides. Therefore, they did not know who was stronger and who was weaker. However, today the mystery would be revealed, because in the octatic treasure chess game, those geniuses would definitely fight. At that time, they would know who was the strongest among the geniuses. On the octatic treasure chess game, the other 7 geniuses saw Lin Xian and immediately snorted. All eyes fell on him, and the biting, cold, murderous intent was not concealed at all. On the other hand, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He swept his gaze around and said indifferently, I advise the 7 of you to be sensible and back off quickly, lest you get killed when the time comes. Humph! Kid, you're too arrogant. The Octadic treasure chest game is not a place where you can behave atrociously. Although you were very arrogant before, that was because I did not make a move. Now that you're facing me, I can crush you with one hand. Bloodhand's expression was cold as the sea of blood behind him surged. Originally, I wanted to wait for the Octadic treasure chess game to finish you off. But since you're in a hurry to die, it's good that you came up yourself. I'll kill you with my own hands. Kid, hand over the blood soul stone and kneel down to accept your death. I can give you a quick death. Yu Luocha's voice was cold as she stared at Lin Xian fiercely, as if she wanted to tear him apart. Haha, your soul is mine. A cold shout was heard as the 7 geniuses all stared at Lin Xian, ready to attack. At that moment, the incense stick was completely burned out. The Octadic treasure chess game released a bright light that completely enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Everyone's hearts were also in their mouths, because they knew that the Octadic treasure chess game had been completely activated. The Octadic treasure chess game was extremely mysterious. Once it was activated, outsiders could not interfere at all. Meanwhile, the 8 geniuses inside had to use themselves as chess pieces to attack. I'll go first. Bloodhand shouted as his body emitted endless light. The blood-colored aura shot up into the sky like a long river of blood that hung from the 9 heavens. At that moment, Bloodhand was extremely powerful. He also took a step forward and moved forward by 1 square. Whoa! Suddenly, a chess piece appeared in front of him. It was formed from the Octadic treasures chess game. It was a black ghost stone. After the blood hand moved, it quickly turned into a black-armored cultivator. His entire body was wrapped in an ice-cold black armor, and he looked exceptionally fierce. That biting cold aura caused the surrounding void to distort. The mysterious black-armored warrior did not wield any weapons. He simply swung his fists and punched forward. Boom! He threw out a punch, causing the void to tremble. The terrifying fist shadow shone in all directions and directly enveloped the bloody hand. At the same time, Snow Hand also roared, Blood River 9 tremors. First tremor! Get lost! He waved his hand, and a strong spiritual power surged, turning into a scarlet palm that slammed forward. A red light flashed, and a pungent smell of blood filled the air. A terrifying force crashed into the black-armored cultivator, instantly piercing through him. In the next instant, the black-armored martial artist transformed into a beam of light, smearing into the Octadic treasure chess game, vanishing from sight. As for Bloodhand, he had successfully taken a step forward. After this step, the entire Octadic treasure chess game started to move. The chess pieces on the chessboard moved quickly, killing the other 7 people. A black ghost stone turned into a pitch-black leopard. It had a pair of black wings on its back, and it was extremely valiant, releasing a terrifying aura. Its 4 limbs jumped, and it transformed into a beam of black light, quickly charging towards Nangong Hao. The aura that it exuded caused the surrounding martial artists to be terrified. This was because they knew that the aura could easily kill a 9th heaven honorable. Nangong Hao snorted coldly, and his eyes were filled with disdain. Then, a ball of purple flames appeared on his palm. He waved his palm gently, and countless purple flames jumped, forming a huge purple flame palm that flew out quickly. The void trembled, and the terrifying body covered the sky as if it was going to crush everything. Boom! The terrifying heat burned, and the black leopard was instantly burned to ashes. On the other side, ghostly wails and howls could be heard. Countless ghosts flew around quickly, and they surrounded a cold figure. Gue Li was like the king of ghosts. He brought countless ghosts with him, and he quickly fought with a white-armored cultivator. Soon, he also finished off his opponent. Yu Luosha smiled, and a folding fan appeared in her hand. She quickly opened it, and countless peach blossom petals formed a human face. human-faced peach blossom fan. In the next moment, the folding fan waved gently and pink fog surged out. It quickly floated forward, tearing the black-armored man apart. Feng Hudi's expression was cold. She held a black spear, and her opponent was a white-robed cultivator. The battle was very simple. Feng Hudi only stabbed with her spear once. Then, she killed her opponent completely. Shadowless was even more impressive. He was like a ghost, silently killing his opponent in an instant. Gu Yuan, who was sent by the Southern Desolation ancient town, was also very skilled. He displayed powerful battle strength and smashed his opponent with a palm. In another corner, Lin Xian looked at the white figures that were slowly forming in front of him, and he narrowed his eyes. He had been hanging out with the Crimson Dragon for many years, and his attainments in array formations were very terrifying. Therefore, he could sense that these figures were formed by the array formation, and they were very powerful. Ordinary Ninth Heaven supremacies were no match for them. However, Lin Xian did not take it to heart. He punched out and smashed his opponent into pieces. Then, his eyes swept across the surroundings. His goal was the mysterious crystal, so he had to find where it was first. Was it hidden in the octatic treasure chest game, or was it a reward for the final victor? However, in the next moment he understood, because he realized that the other 7 people were all heading towards the center of the octatic treasure chest game. It seemed that there was something there that attracted them, and the only thing that could attract the 7 of them was definitely that mysterious crystal. It seemed that the mysterious crystal should be in the center of this array formation. Thinking of this, Lin Xian did not hesitate and strode forward. With every step he took, a chess piece would transform into a terrifying existence and attack him. Moreover, he realized that the closer he got to the center, the stronger the transformed cultivators were. When the surrounding cultivators saw this, they all became excited. Exciting, too exciting. The 8 people on the stage were all top prodigies, and their skills were extremely terrifying. They had never seen this kind of battle before. Moreover, the Heaven Sect would not usually make a move, but now they saw it, and it was 8 prodigies attacking at the same time. "Look, Bloodhand and Ghostly are fighting!" Everyone exclaimed and was very excited. Indeed, on the octatic treasure chest game, as they got closer and closer to the center, the distance between them also got closer and closer. Finally, someone could not help but make a move. Bloodhand was fighting with a black-armored cultivator, and behind him, Ghostly took 3 steps and suddenly charged towards Bloodhand. Chapter 1380. "Look, Bloodhand and Ghostly are fighting!" Everyone exclaimed in excitement. Sure enough, as they got closer to the center of the octatic treasure chessboard, the distance between them got closer and closer. Finally, someone couldn't help but make a move. Bloodhand was fighting with a black-armored warrior. Behind him, Ghostly took 3 steps forward and suddenly charged at Bloodhand. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled as chilly winds blew. The white bone banner was held in his hand as he waved it rapidly. Ghosts turned into materialized ferocious ghosts and pounced forward. The ferocious ghosts could easily tear the void apart with a casual pounce. "Get lost!" Bloodhand roared as a terrifying light erupted from his body. The blood-colored river behind him surged. He waved his hand and blood-colored palms blasted out in all directions, instantly sending the ferocious ghosts flying. "Haha, give me your soul!" Ghostly saw that his attack was sent flying, but he still quickly made a move. The white bone banner in his hand blew up countless chilly winds. A white claw reached out from it and grabbed at Bloodhand as if it wanted to tear it apart. Clang! Bloodhand's expression was cold as he roared. He quickly pulled out a blood-colored long saber and slashed horizontally. A blood-colored light splashed out like a long river. The terrifying blood-colored long saber blasted onto the white bone banner. It was like an ancient ferocious beast, erupting with terrifying power. The two collided, emitting the sound of metal and stone colliding. After one strike, the two were evenly matched. However, because Ghostly took 3 steps to kill Bloodhand, 3 black chess warriors appeared beside him and quickly charged at him. Humph! Ghostly snorted and quickly retreated. He no longer fought with Bloodhand and focused on dealing with the 3 black chess warriors, because they were very close to the center of the octatic treasure chessboard. The black chess warriors gathered here were also very terrifying. Moreover, with 3 of them working together, even Ghostly would have to put in some effort. From this, one could see the pattern of their ray. Every time a warrior took a step forward, it would attract a chess warrior to attack. Previously, Ghostly took 3 steps forward, which naturally attracted 3 black chess warriors. On the other side, Feng Hudi and Yuluosha were also fighting. The 2 of them fought fiercely and then quickly pulled away. Up until now, no one had experienced a life and death battle. They were all just probing. After Lin Xian killed a few chess piece warriors, he finally encountered other sky brides. On his left was a handsome young man, Guyuan from the southern wasteland ancient town. When Guyuan saw Lin Xian rushing over from behind, his face immediately darkened. He was a member of the city lord's mansion. Previously, Lin Xian had beaten up the enforcers, completely disregarding the city lord's mansion. This was undoubtedly a slap to the city lord's mansion's face. As a prodigy of the city lord's mansion, how could Gu Yuan tolerate it? Therefore, when he saw Lin Xian, he naturally had to make a move. Brat, you actually dared to attack the law enforcement team. Today, I will teach you a good lesson. I'll let you know that there are some people you can't afford to offend. Gu Yuan's expression was ferocious as he quickly stabbed the long sword in his hand behind him. A sword light flashed like a meteor and quickly blasted towards Lin Xian. Humph! A puny martial artist from the city, lord's mansion, also dares to clamor with me? It's more appropriate for your city, lord, to talk to me, personally. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his expression full of disdain. Then he threw out a punch. The terrifying fist carried an unparalleled lightning as it illuminated the surroundings. The violent power crushed the entire void. This punch was too terrifying. The light was so dazzling that no one could open their eyes. Boom! The lightning fist fiercely smashed onto the opponent's sword chi, causing a huge explosion in the void. In an instant, the opponent's sword chi shattered into pieces and scattered all over the ground. It shattered? That's impossible. In front, Gu Yuan's eyes were like lightning. They were like 2 sword lights that carried an unparalleled light. He naturally saw the scene of the sword light being shattered and immediately screamed. Shocking. It was simply too shocking. He didn't expect the opponent's fist to be so powerful that it could shatter his sword light. Not only that, the fist didn't suffer any injuries and was still rapidly charging towards him. Damn it, get lost! Gu Yuan's pupils shrank as he roared crazily. He quickly condensed his defensive power and activated the armor on his body. However, the punch still landed solidly on his body, causing him to take 5 steps back. In an instant, 5 chess piece warriors quickly formed and charged toward him. On the other hand, Lin Xian frowned. He sensed that most of the force of his punch had been neutralized by the formation the moment his fist landed on the man's body. Only a small portion of the force had landed on the man's body. Therefore, the opponent only took 5 steps back. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, this punch would have definitely turned the opponent into a bloody mist. Reducing the damage? This formation was quite interesting. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He realized that this octatic treasure chess game was more magical than he had imagined. The method of reducing the damage was undoubtedly to protect the people in the formation. It seemed that it wasn't easy to kill people in the chess game. However, Lin Xian didn't pay too much attention to it. It didn't make any difference to him whether he killed the opponent or not. In his eyes, these people were all ants. There was no difference between being alive and being dead. The only thing he paid attention to was the mysterious crystal in the center. Therefore, in the next moment, he withdrew his fist and turned to look forward. You, die. Gu Yuan, who was beside him, was pushed back. He was in a very sorry state. Not only that, but he also suffered internal injuries. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. After killing the 5 chess pieces around him with difficulty, Gu Yuan stared fiercely at Lin Xian. His eyes were full of viciousness. Damn it! Damn it! The other party had actually forced her to retreat and even injured her. Moreover, everyone had seen this scene. He couldn't stand it. As a genius of the city governor's mansion, he thought that he wasn't inferior to the geniuses of the other halls. This time he was full of confidence and wanted to obtain the mysterious crystal. Therefore, he didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. When they met just now, a murderous intent rose in his heart. He wanted to make Lin Xian embarrass himself in public so that he could save the face of the city governor's mansion's law enforcement team. However, he didn't expect that as soon as they exchanged blows, he realized that he was wrong. Lin Xian's strength was far beyond his imagination. As a result, he was defeated in a sorry state. Kid, you will pay for your actions. After I obtain the mysterious crystal, I will definitely kill you. Gu Yuan's body was full of murderous intent. He had decided that after obtaining the mysterious crystal, he would definitely not let Lin Xian off. When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, they were all terrified. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could push Gu Yuan back with one punch. One should know that the previous battles between geniuses were just probing each other. They were evenly matched, and there was no obvious winner or loser. However, Lin Xian's side was different. That punch had directly pushed Gu Yuan back. This undoubtedly showed that Lin Xian's strength was above Gu Yuan's. This was also the first time a genius had a winner. The surrounding geniuses were also shocked. When they saw this scene, their faces were gloomy. Chapter 1381. The previous battles between the Sky Prides were merely probing each other. They were evenly matched, and there was no clear winner or loser. However, Lin Xian's side was different. His punch had forced Gu Yuan to retreat. This undoubtedly meant that Lin Xian's strength was above Gu Yuan's. This was also the first time a victor had been decided between 2 Sky Prides. The surrounding Sky Prides were also shocked. Their faces darkened when they saw the scene. Humph! Nangong House snorted coldly. However, he did not look relaxed. Bloodhand's expression was solemn. He realized that his opponent's strength had once again exceeded his imagination. He had to be careful. The others looked ferocious, while Lin Xian looked calm. However, he frowned in the next moment and suddenly threw a punch to his right. Get lost! Everyone was stunned. They did not know what he was doing because there was clearly no one on his right. However, they were all stunned very soon. That was because when Lin Xian threw a punch, a figure quickly appeared in the void on his right and quickly retreated. Shadowless. It was Shadowless who attacked. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the king of assassins to assassinate Lin Xian at the critical moment and almost succeed. However, the other Sky Pride's pupils constricted and their expressions became extremely solemn. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to discover Shadowless's tracks and force him to retreat. This was too shocking. One had to know that Shadowless's assassination skills were extremely terrifying. Even they had a headache dealing with it. Many people could not even discover Shadowless and could only counterattack at the moment when he attacked. But now, Lin Xian had discovered Shadowless and attacked him when he was about 10 meters away, forcing him to retreat. Didn't this mean that he had discovered Shadowless's existence in advance? Damn it, how did this guy do it? He actually discovered Shadowless's existence. The Sky Prides were very confused. Meanwhile, Shadowless's face darkened. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to discover his tracks and attack so decisively. He did not even have the chance to get close to Lin Xian. Who is this guy? How did he discover me? He was too shocked. The other party's sharpness was beyond his expectations, and this kind of situation had never happened before. One had to know that he wasn't called the King of Assassins for nothing. In the past, he had never failed. Even those experts with higher cultivation than him had been successfully assassinated by him. That was why he had the title of King of Assassins. But now he had failed. Moreover, he was defeated by a young man who was younger than him. He couldn't believe it. But how could he have known that in Lin Xian's eyes, he was not even an ant? It should be known that although Shadowless was powerful, he was only equivalent to those 5-star assassins that Lin Xian had brought along. And Lin Xian was an existence that even Luo Bingshan would tremble when he saw him. With his current soul power, even a half-step king warrior would not be able to get close to him, let alone a little Shadowless. No one else knew about this, not to mention Shadowless. His expression was solemn as he quickly tried to figure out how the other party had discovered him. However, no matter how much he thought about it, he still couldn't figure it out. Thus, he could only give up on assassinating for now and look for other prey. Next, everyone tried to test him again, but no one dared to provoke Lin Xian. Because of the previous 2 attacks, they knew that Lin Xian's strength was more terrifying than they had imagined. Even the King of Assassins, Shadowless, couldn't get close to him. This undoubtedly rang an alarm bell. Finally, after a series of battles, everyone arrived at the central area. Next, please place your bets. At this moment, a low voice came from the octatic treasure chest set. This voice was very cold, like a machine without any emotion. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian was stunned. The other prodigies were expressionless as they quickly took out the treasures they had prepared from their storage rings and placed them in front of them. Lin Xian was slightly stunned, but he soon understood that this should be something like a bet. Thus, Lin Xian also took out something from his storage ring. It was an Earth Street treasured long blade. Seeing this long blade, everyone had different expressions. Shadow's face darkened, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This was because the long blade that Lin Xian took out was the one he had bought from the auction. However, it was later snatched away by Lin Xian. That was a treasured long blade that he had spent millions of spiritual stones to buy. He didn't expect it to be snatched away by Lin Xian for no reason. Now, Lin Xian was using it as a bet. This was infuriating. Moreover, what made him even angrier was that if he had that long blade now, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. In that case, he would definitely succeed in assassinating Lin Xian. However, now that everything was gone, he could only watch helplessly. The other prodigies' faces darkened as well. This was because Lin Xian hadn't only snatched that one item. All the treasures that they had bought had been snatched away by Lin Xian. This time, seeing Lin Xian take out an item from the auction, their faces were terrifyingly dark. Yu Luosha gritted her teeth and said, "Brat, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a bet?" "Don't even think about the Blood Soul Stone. I've already absorbed all of it," Lin Xian said calmly. "Ah, I'm going to kill you." Hearing this, her face turned pale and she stomped her feet. She wanted nothing more than to pounce on Lin Xian and kill him right now. However, she didn't have the chance because the octatic treasure chest game changed again. Below Lin Xian and the other prodigies, balls of light emitted and enveloped all of them. Then the light around them dimmed as if they had arrived in a special space. Just as Lin Xian was about to investigate, the space in front of him rippled and another figure appeared. It was a handsome young man in a robe. His expression was arrogant, as if he didn't care about anyone. "Nangong Hao!" Lin Xian smiled faintly when he saw the figure. When Nangong Hao saw Lin Xian, he was startled at first. Then he revealed a sinister smile. "Ha ha ha ha. Kid, I have to say that your luck is really bad. You actually met me on your first try. Very well, let me send you on your way. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. Nan Gonghao's voice was sinister, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He didn't have a good impression of Lin Xian. Not only did Lin Xian snatch his spiritual medicine, but he also stepped on his head. This was something that the arrogant Nan Gonghao couldn't tolerate. Lin Xian, on the other hand, ignored him and walked around. He frowned and asked, "What is this place? Is this a martial arts competition? Only the winner can walk out?" Lin Xian didn't understand. However, from the looks of it, the 8 of them should have been divided into many groups and competed with each other. Only the winner could walk out successfully and proceed to the next step. As for why he and Nan Gonghao were placed together, Lin Xian couldn't figure it out yet. Maybe it was random distribution, or maybe it had something to do with the stakes. Nan Gonghao's eyes were dark and his expression was cold. His entire body emitted a murderous aura, but he didn't attack. This made Lin Xian a little confused. Was it not a martial arts competition? Chapter 1382. However, in the next moment he understood, because after the 2 of them entered, the void fluctuated again and another figure appeared. It was a human figure. To be more precise, it was like a shadow because it was only a vague outline. Even his face could not be seen clearly. Only a low voice could be heard. 2 people were assigned to each other. Only the winner could proceed to the next round, while the loser would be eliminated. The voice was cold and mechanical, without a trace of emotion. The shadow continued. This time we'll be using flames. Whoever has the strongest eye of fire will be the winner. What? A competition of flames? Lin Xian was puzzled. He had never seen such a competition before. Nan Gonghao, who was standing aside, laughed loudly. Ha ha ha! The heavens are helping me. Boy, you dare to compete with me in flames? You're dead. He was overjoyed because he was shocked by Lin Xian's performance. Lin Xian's strength was completely out of his expectations. Therefore, he was very worried at first. He was afraid that the competition would be a direct fight, because if that happened, he would not have much confidence in winning. But now it was a competition of flames. This made him very happy. Among the 7 geniuses, he was a member of the Divine Pill Hall. Moreover, among the fire-based martial artists, no one had a stronger flame than him. Nan Gonghao was even confident that, except for the mysterious fire spirit, no one could beat his flame. Although his opponent was mysterious, from the strength that he had displayed, he could tell that his opponent had the thunder and ice attributes. He definitely did not have the fire attribute. Therefore, the flame that his opponent condensed with spiritual power was just an ordinary flame. It was definitely not comparable to the flame in his hand. Lin Xian also grinned. Competing with him in flames? What a death-seeking question! Even the 2 terrifying fire spirits were burned to ashes by his black flame, martial soul. One could imagine how powerful his black flame martial soul was. But now he wanted to compete with flames? Wasn't this giving him points? Looking at Nan Gonghao's arrogant look, Lin Xian asked with a smile, "You seem to be very happy." "Kid, are you an idiot?" Nan Gonghao sneered. "I'm the leader of the Divine Pill Hall. I have an extremely powerful flame, and it's a flame martial spirit. What do you have to compete with me? Other than a natural fire spirit, no one else in the younger generation has a stronger flame than me." Nan Gonghao's voice was sonorous, and his words were full of confidence. However, Lin Xian smiled disdainfully. "So you're saying that you still can't compare to Hualing? Even the 2 fire spirits were killed by me, let alone you. I really can't think of anything. What are you so happy about? Stop trying to scare me." Although I don't know how the 2 fire spirits disappeared, I think it's definitely not caused by your true strength. Moreover, I admit that you are strong, but what we are competing in here is not strength, but flames. Do you have a flame, martial spirit? Do you have a deviant flame? You have nothing. You still dare to be arrogant here? Brat, I'll let you know what the difference between heaven and earth is. Nan Gong Hao's expression was arrogant, and his nostrils were almost in the sky. In the next moment, he snorted coldly, and countless purple flames surged out from his body, forming a purple flame armor on his body. Brat, listen carefully. This is the Purple River spiritual fire. It came from underground and was formed after thousands of years of nurturing. Even a 9th-level honorable couldn't withstand a trace of my flame, let alone you. You'd better admit defeat obediently, because the flame that you condensed with your spiritual power is nothing in front of me. Nan Gong Hao looked up to the sky and laughed. He was like a fire god looking down at Lin Xian. Lord Array Spirit, quickly kick him out. Anyway, this brat is wasting time here. Seeing Nan Gong Hao's smug look, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. What a fool! In the next moment, he snapped his fingers, and a black flame appeared on his index finger. The flame was deep, and as soon as it appeared, the surrounding void was scorched and distorted. Not only that, but there was also an extremely hot energy accompanying the black flame. Even the purple flame on Nan Gong Hao's body dimmed instantly, as if it was frightened. Feeling the change in the purple flame on his body, Nan Gong Hao's expression changed drastically. In the next moment, he looked at Lin Xian and screamed. Impossible! What kind of flame is this? It can actually scare my Purple River spiritual fire? Brat, how did you do it? He was stunned, really stunned. His opponent actually had black flames, and that was indeed surprising. Moreover, from the aura that was emitted, he knew that it was definitely not a flame condensed with spiritual power, but a kind of strange flame. It was even more terrifying than his Purple River spiritual fire, because when the purple flame appeared, the purple flame on his body instantly dimmed. This kind of thing had never happened before. Even when he faced the fire spirit, it had never happened before. Damn it, impossible. I don't believe it. How can you have such a magical flame? Aren't you an ice-based martial artist? How can you have a flame? How can ice and fire exist in a person's body at the same time? Nan Gong Hao screamed crazily. Then, as if he had thought of something, he looked in front of him in shock. Could it be the black dragon flame on the sect leader's body? Thinking of this, his body trembled. If it was really the black dragon sect leader's flame, he would definitely lose. No matter how powerful his Purple River spiritual fire was, it could not be compared to the black dragon flame. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and did not explain. It was better for him to misunderstand. However, after Nan Gong Hao recovered from his shock, he shook his head crazily. No, that's not right. It's not the black dragon flame. I've seen the sect leader's flame before. Although it's also black, its aura is different. Brat, what kind of flame is this? Trash like you is not qualified to know the name of this flame. Lin Xian snorted coldly and shook his head. You, die. Nan Gong Hao's expression was ferocious. He clenched his fists, and his entire body was trembling. Was he being looked down upon? No one had ever dared to look down on him. This was intolerable. However, when he saw the black flame in his opponent's hand, Nan Gong Hao hesitated. That flame was too terrifying. He was not confident that he could withstand it. However, at this moment, the cold voice sounded again. The winner has been decided. With that, Lin Xian's feet shone, and he instantly returned to the octatic treasure chest set. In fact, when Lin Xian entered the special space, the other Sky Prides had also entered the special space to fight. The content of each battle was different. Therefore, before the Sky Prides entered, they did not know who they would be fighting and what they would be fighting about. However, it did not take long for the winner to be decided. Chapter 1383. In fact, When Lin Xian entered the special space, the other Sky Prides had also entered the special space to fight. The content of each battle was different. Therefore, before these Sky Prides entered, they did not know who they would be fighting and what they would be fighting about. However, it did not take long for the outcome to be decided. The three victors were Yu Luosha, Bloodhand, and Shadowless. As for Feng Huti, Guili, and Gu Yuan, they had all failed. The three of them had ugly expressions. They retreated to the side and could not get close to the center at all. The remaining three did not relax because this was only the first round and had not reached the end. They had to defeat everyone to obtain the mysterious crystal. In the next moment, the three of them looked to the side because they realized that Lin Xian and Nan Gonghao had not come out yet. I didn't expect that kid to be in the same space as Nan Gonghao. I'm afraid he's doomed this time, Shadowless said in a deep voice. Humph, that kid got lucky. If I had met him, I would have killed him myself. Yu Luosha snorted coldly. Bloodhand, on the other hand, had a cold expression. Nan Gonghao is very powerful and not easy to deal with. Looks like I'll have to be 120% focused in the next round. In their opinion, Nan Gonghao would definitely be the winner because he was too powerful. Even they did not have the confidence to defeat him, not to mention Lin Xian. Soon, there was a flash of light and a figure appeared. He's out. Everyone took a deep breath and looked over with rapt attention. But soon, they were stunned on the spot. Why is it him? How is this possible? Everyone was stunned because they realized that the first person to come out was Lin Xian, and the first one to come out would be the winner. They did not expect that the winner would be Lin Xian. Damn it, how is this possible? How can it be him? Everyone was shocked. The martial artists who were watching from afar exclaimed. They knew how powerful Nan Gonghao was. He was even qualified to be the number one among the younger generation. However, he had been defeated. He had been defeated by a youth who was younger and more arrogant than him. What exactly were they competing for? Nan Gonghao had actually lost. Gui Li, Feng Huti, and the others were shocked. They couldn't imagine what kind of situation could defeat Nan Gonghao. Gu Feng's expression was also cold. He coldly snorted. Humph, it must be Han Bing from the competition. Nan Gonghao is a fire tribute martial artist. Naturally, he is not proficient in the ice attribute. That's why he lost. Or maybe it's lightning. That brat is also a thunder attribute martial artist, Bloodhand said in a deep voice. Yes, that must be it. It must be that kid's field of expertise. Otherwise, Nan Gonghao wouldn't have lost. These people kept hypnotizing themselves to comfort their shocked hearts. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He took a step forward and stood at the front with his hands behind his back. On the other hand, Nan Gonghao's face was terrifyingly dark. It was as if he had eaten a dead rat. He reluctantly went to the rear. At this moment, Gu Yuan quickly asked, Nan Gonghao, what exactly did you compete in? How could he lose? He could not believe that the winner would actually be Lin Xian. Moreover, he had just lost to Lin Xian, so he wanted to know the truth of the matter even more. However, Nan Gonghao coldly snorted and did not say a word. How could he say it out loud? They competed in the flame that he was best at. Losing in the field that he was best at, he would never say such a thing, even if he was beaten to death, because he could not afford to lose face. Seeing Nan Gonghao's expression, everyone's heart sank. They realized that things might be worse than they had imagined. However, they did not have the time to think too much, because soon one of the three of them would be facing Lin Xian. The treasures that their opponents had used as collateral now belonged to them. At this moment, they were floating in front of them, constantly floating and being distributed. In the next moment, a light flashed and Lin Xian and the other three disappeared. It was a dark space again, and the light was flickering. Lin Xian's figure flashed. However, this time he did not look around because, even if he did, he would not be able to find anything. He might as well wait for the competition. This time his opponent was Shadowless. When Shadowless saw Lin Xian, his expression instantly turned ugly. One had to know that he had been knocked back by Lin Xian's punch and even suffered internal injuries. Now that he saw his opponent, his heart could not help but tremble. Damn it! Please don't let me fight him directly. Shadowless prayed in his heart. If they fought directly, he did not have the confidence to defeat his opponent. It would be better to compete in something that he was best at. Next to him, a blurry figure appeared. Instantly, a cold voice was heard. This time we'll compete in speed. What? Speed? Hearing this, Shadowless, who had always been calm, jumped up in joy. Speed, that was what he was best at. As an assassin, he was best at concealment, speed, and timing. Only by mastering these three could one become an excellent assassin. Furthermore, he was the king of assassins, so his speed was needless to say. Perhaps even Nangong, Hao, and Blood Rogue could not catch up to him. Thinking of this, he grinned. It seemed that even the heavens were helping him. Haha, kid, you're dead. Competing in speed with me, you have no chance at all. Although I don't know how you discovered me before, I will definitely take revenge this time. Just wait to admit defeat. Shadowless sneered and swore to kill his opponent. Lin Xian also shook his head in disdain. As expected, these disciples of the Black Dragon cult are all arrogant and have never seen the real world. Competing in speed with him was courting death. One had to know that he had the illusory demonic steps and the wind and thunder wings. His speed could be said to be extremely fast, even comparable to a half-step king. In addition, he also had the sea god's ice. That terrifying cold air could definitely slow down the speed of the martial artists around him to the extreme, even slower than a snail. Of course, there was no need to use the sea god's ice to deal with Shadowless. He could definitely kill him with just his movement technique. In the dark space, the void fluctuated and two rays of light appeared on both sides, floating in the void. The distance between the two rays of light was not long, only 10 feet. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Run back and forth between the two rays of light for a total of 10,000 times. Whoever finishes first wins. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, a distance of 10 feet was just a blink of an eye for them. However, to run 10,000 times while maintaining a high speed was quite challenging. Shadowless sneered, "Kid, just wait for your death." Then the two stood on the same side, and as the cold voice sounded, the two started to move. Whoosh! The two turned into lightning phantoms and moved quickly. Their speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they had finished dozens of times. If there were martial artists here, they would definitely scream. Chapter 1384. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two of them turned into lightning phantoms and moved quickly. In the blink of an eye, they had completed dozens of rounds. If there were martial artists here, they would definitely scream. Teleportation! This was teleportation! The two of them were so fast that they left behind afterimages in the air. Time passed bit by bit. Not only did they not slow down, they even sped up. One had to admit that it was indeed shocking. 3,000 rounds is enough. There's still 7,000 rounds left. Humph! He dares to compete with me in speed. That kid is definitely dead. Shadowless snorted in his heart. The next moment, his pupils constricted because he found that Lin Xian suddenly appeared and stopped beside him. What's going on? Why did he stop? Shadowless was puzzled. Humph! What a piece of trash. He can't take it after 3,000 rounds? It seems that I overestimated him. Shadowless sneered in his heart and became even more proud. Then he sped up and moved quickly. However, at this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. The competition is over. The winner has been decided. What? It's over? In the air, Shadowless was stunned and his body appeared. His mind went blank and he could not believe his ears. What? It's over? How is that possible? I still have more than 7,000 rounds left. Shadowless shouted in exasperation. He thought that there was something wrong with the formation spirit, but soon his body trembled and his voice stopped abruptly. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Could it be that the kid has finished? How is that possible? How can he be so fast? Shadowless was extremely shocked. Now he understood that the reason why Lin Xian stopped running was not because he was exhausted, but because he had finished running. However, he could not believe it at all. One had to know that he had only run 3,000 rounds at that time, and Lin Xian had already run 10,000 rounds. That was a difference of 3 times. Who could be 3 times faster than him? Perhaps even a half-step king could not do that, unless it was a true king. However, Lin Xian's cultivation was only at the 8th level of the Venerable Realm, which was 1 level lower than his, but his speed was so fast. No, that's impossible. Shadowless seemed to have been struck by lightning. His mind went blank and he could not believe it. Even his expression became dull because he had suffered a great blow. Whoosh whoosh. 2 rays of light flashed and Lin Xian and Shadowless were forcefully sent out of the space. Then, the 2 of them appeared on top of the octatic treasure chest. What's wrong? Who won? As soon as Lin Xian and Yi Shiwen appeared, the gazes of the surrounding prodigies locked onto them. Countless cultivators below even craned their necks, their faces filled with anticipation. In the next moment, Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and the other geniuses were all shocked because they found that Shadowless's eyes were lifeless. He stood there like a puppet, and his eyes had lost their luster. It can't be. His aura is so weak. Could he be seriously injured? Bloodhand frowned. Could it be that they are going to have a direct duel this time? Yu Luocha's expression was grave. Behind them, Nangong Hao, Guili, and the others were also shocked. They knew how strong Shadowless was. Although he had been punched by Lin Xian, they should be evenly matched if they really fought. But now, it seemed like Shadowless had lost his soul. Damn it, what the hell happened? Shadowless, say something. What exactly are you guys competing in? Could it be that you're seriously injured? Many people shouted coldly, wanting to know the inside story. However, Shadowless still refused to listen and remained rooted to the ground. Who's next? Lin Xian took another step forward and asked indifferently. Humph. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Yu Luocha snorted coldly and retreated to the side. Obviously, he had lost the duel with Bloodhand. Kid, I didn't expect you to be able to make it this far, but against me, you definitely have no chance of winning. Bloodhand's expression was cold, and he was very confident. Let's wait for you to come out before saying that. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. Those 2 guys from before were also very arrogant, but you've seen how they are now. I hope you'll be better than them when you come out later. Everyone had failed, leaving only Lin Xian and Bloodhand. In the next moment, the 2 of them disappeared again. This time, the duel was very direct. It was a direct duel. Bloodhand roared excitedly. He was the #1 division leader of the Blood Fiend Hall and was a true battle maniac. If he was asked to compete in other things, he really wouldn't be willing. A direct duel was the most suitable choice for him. Kid, I'll split you in half later and let you know how powerful I am. Of course, if you can obediently hand over the Blood Soul Stone, I'll take your life and let you lose with dignity. Bloodhand's blood aura bloomed like a powerful god of war. Looking disdainfully at everyone, Lin Xian said indifferently, I wanted to play with you, but since it's a direct duel, I'll finish you off quickly. Arrogant. Kid, since you're so stubborn, you can go to hell. Bloodhand roared, and a blood-red river appeared behind him. Blood River 9 tremors in unison. In the next moment, he pushed out both palms, and 9 blood-red palms rushed out quickly, blasting towards Lin Xian. For a moment, the entire void trembled rapidly, unable to withstand this power. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and he quickly formed seals with his palms. Firmament 9 changes, Zhuyan change. As the palms fell, a huge red ape appeared. Then the red ape roared into the sky, and with a shake of its arms, it tore the 9 blood-red palms in front of it into pieces. What? This is impossible. Bloodhand's eyes narrowed, and he screamed in disbelief. That was his strongest attack, and the 9 palms could even kill a few ninth heaven supremacies. However, at this moment, it had been torn apart so easily. How could he believe this? However, what was even more frightening was yet to come. The red ape smashed the 9 palms with a punch, then lifted its huge foot and stomped towards Bloodhand. Rumble. The void collapsed and the ground sank. This stomp was so terrifying that it created a black hole. No. Bloodhand was terrified, and he no longer had the arrogance from before. In front of this power, he was like an ant that could be swallowed up at any time. Boom! The huge foot landed, and Bloodhand was sent flying. This was even after the octadic treasure chest set had reduced its power by 90%. Otherwise, this stomp would have turned him into minced meat. However, even with only 10% of its power left, it was not something that Bloodhand could handle. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. When the crowd saw that Lin Xian and Bloodhand had disappeared, they immediately started discussing intensely. This was because this was the final battle, and the winner would not only obtain the treasures that the others had bet on, but also a mysterious crystal. Therefore, they were very concerned about this result. Many people even analyzed and discussed in detail, guessing who the final winner would be. I think it must be Bloodhand. That guy is a battle maniac, and he's too terrifying. I'm afraid even Nangong Hao might not be able to suppress him. Of course, Bloodhand is the strongest among our younger generation. The disciples of the Blood Fiend Hall were very confident. Chapter 1385. I'm guessing it must be Blood Rogue. That guy is a battle maniac. He's terrifying. Even Nangong Hao might not be able to suppress him. Of course, Blood Rogue is the #1 among the younger generation. The disciples from Blood Fiend Hall were confident. It's hard to say. Hua Wufeng is very strange. He defeated Nangong Hao, Shadowless, and the rest. His strength is extremely strong. Who knows if he will create another miracle this time? What a joke. That guy must be lucky to have made it this far. Otherwise, he would have been defeated long ago. That's right. Just wait. Our Lord Bloodhand will be able to kill him with a single palm strike. Are you out of your mind? He's not on the same level as our Lord Blood Rogue. The martial artists from Blood Fiend Hall sneered. Then someone exclaimed, "Look, someone's coming out." All of a sudden, everyone stopped discussing and focused their attention on the scene in front of them. Nangong Hao, Ghostly, and the rest held their breaths. When the first figure appeared, everyone was stunned. What? Why is it him again? Everyone was shocked when they realized that the first person to come out was Lin Xian again. Heavens, this guy is too powerful. He even defeated Blood Rogue? Dark Horse. He's definitely the biggest dark horse in our saint sect. Everyone exclaimed. The disciples from Blood Fiend Hall were in despair. Impossible, he can't win. How can he defeat Lord Blood Rogue? Dream, I must be dreaming. Heavens, can anyone tell me what's going on? Many people screamed. Nangong Hao, Yuluosha, and the rest looked cold. The result was beyond their expectations. They did not believe that Lin Xian could last until the end and win first place. Damn it, why is this guy so lucky? He always wins. Yeah, I wonder what they're competing for this time. Ghostly and the rest discussed in low voices. Their voices were filled with hatred. Lin Xian smiled in disdain. He was too lazy to explain. In the next moment, the void trembled and Blood Rogue appeared. However, his body swayed and he knelt on the ground, vomiting blood. What? He's hurt. How is that possible? How could he be so heavily injured? Nangong Hao, Yuluo Sha, Ghostly, and the others were shocked. Their scalps went numb. Originally, they had thought that Lin Xian had only been lucky and had just happened to compete in something that Blood Hand wasn't good at. That was why he had won. But now, it seemed that this was not the case at all. Looking at Blood Hand's appearance, it was as if he had gone through a huge battle. They simply could not believe that the injuries on Blood Hand's body were caused by Lin Xian. That's impossible. Did they start fighting? Why was Blood Hand injured by that brat? How can he be so strong? Damn it, this brat's strength is beyond our expectations. This won't do. We must join forces to suppress him in the next round. We absolutely can't let him have his way again. The next moment, they all held their breaths because in the center of the octatic treasure chessboard, a white crystal appeared. That thing was half the size of a fist. It was oval-shaped, pure white, and emitted a soft light. Lin Xian reached out and grasped it. He immediately felt an extremely pure energy contained within it. This is that mysterious crystal. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows in surprise, but he did not absorb it. Instead, he kept it in his storage ring. Seeing this, Nangong Hao, Ghostly, Yuluosha, and the others' eyes narrowed. Then their breaths became heavy. He did not absorb it. Everyone's hearts raced as their eyes burned with desire. If they had obtained it, they would have immediately absorbed it to increase their strength in preparation for the upcoming battle. But Huang Xiaolong did not absorb it at all. Instead, he kept it away. This meant that Huang Xiaolong's strength would not increase at all. Without a doubt, this gave them great hope. There were a total of 3 rounds in this competition. In other words, as long as they joined forces to suppress Lin Xian in the remaining 2 rounds, they still had a chance to obtain the white crystal. Moreover, as long as they obtained the white crystal, they would immediately absorb it and their strength would increase by a large margin. After the octatic treasure chessboard, they could even capture Lin Xian and seize the mysterious crystal and blood soul stone from his storage ring. Thinking of this, everyone began to tremble with excitement. Lin Xian saw their expressions and sneered. The reason why he did not immediately consume the mysterious crystal was that he was very suspicious. This was because the effect of the improvement was too shocking. For example, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others were still small martial artists in the spirit-transforming realm half a year ago. However, after absorbing the mysterious crystal, they directly reached the 9th heaven of the venerable realm. The change could be said to be the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Xian had never heard of such a thing. Moreover, he could not guarantee that there would be no side effects after absorbing it, so he would wait until after the octatic treasure chessboard and study it properly. As for these people, they wanted to snatch the mysterious crystal. That was simply impossible. Lin Xian was quite confident about this. In the next moment, a light flashed, and everyone returned to their original positions. The second round began. The surrounding martial artists settled down again and watched carefully. However, their hearts were still in turmoil because the result of the previous round was indeed beyond their expectations. They did not expect that the final winner would be Lin Xian. A guy who had only appeared 3 days ago actually defeated Nangong Hao and the other geniuses to win first place. 3 days ago, they would not believe that someone would discuss such a thing. But now it had really happened. In front, the second round of the octatic treasure chessboard began. However, this time, everyone changed their strategy because they realized that no one was a match for Lin Xian in a one-on-one battle. Therefore, these people decided to join forces. Blood Hand and Feng Huti joined forces and formed a powerful attack that charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly formed a seal with his palms, and a huge Cheongqi flew out from his fingertips and pounced forward, forcing the 2 of them back. What? The 2 of them were shocked. Impossible? How did he do it? Seeing this scene, everyone's scalps went numb, while Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others' faces were gloomy. Impossible! I don't believe it's not true. How can he be so powerful? These people counterattacked crazily. Outside the chessboard, the martial artists were even more shocked. Even the mysterious city lord, who was hiding in the dark, frowned. Impossible! This kid's cultivation is clearly at the 8th heaven, but his strength has surpassed Nangong Hao and the others, even by a lot. This doesn't make sense. What's going on with him? How can he have such powerful combat strength? The city lord frowned, and even he began to suspect Lin Xian's identity. Soon, the second round ended, and Lin Xian was still first place, obtaining another mysterious crystal. Everyone was in despair and disbelief. Chapter 1386. Nangong Hao, Shueshou, and the others gritted their teeth. They were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. That was a mysterious crystal. If they could get their hands on one, they could reach the advanced stage or even the peak stage of the 9th level of heaven. If that happened, they would become the most dazzling existence among the younger generation. However, that beautiful hope had been shattered, and it was all because of this hateful brat in front of him. The opponent was too terrifying. He forced all of them back and took first place. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Next time, let's add more people. I don't believe that the bastard can fight against 3 of us. Nangong Hao said through gritted teeth. Yes, let's work together. Let's put aside our conflicts and subdue the bastard first. Yu Luosha's face was also cold. This time, they came to an agreement. Yu Luosha, Nangong Hao, and Feng Huidi would work together to kill Lin Xian. However, this time, Lin Xian didn't fight them head-on, because he sensed that someone was spying on him. Therefore, to not expose his identity, he decided to hide his abilities. He had to at least get his hands on the last mysterious crystal. Then, even if his identity was exposed, it wouldn't matter. Thus, in the end, Lin Xian quickly swam away and did not fight against him at all. Damn it! Yu Luosha gritted her teeth. Ah, this is so infuriating. Nangong Hao roared crazily. When the 3 of them worked together, they were extremely powerful. Nobody could fight against them. However, the opponent changed his strategy and didn't fight them. Instead, he walked around them quickly. This made them feel like they were punching cotton. They couldn't do anything and couldn't use their strength. In the end, the last mysterious crystal was obtained by Lin Xian. Everyone was shocked. No one expected the situation to turn out like this. The 3 mysterious crystals could even create 3 powerful experts. However, all of them were obtained by Lin Xian. The other 7 heavens favorites didn't even get a single one. One had to admit that this was too hard to believe. Before this, the hot favorites were Nangong Hao, Shueshou, and Yu Luosha. Some people even speculated that the 3 of them could have gotten one each. But now, Lin Xian had obtained all 3. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched in disbelief. Nangong Hao and the others' faces darkened. They wanted nothing more than to run away. F***, I can't take it. I really can't take it anymore. Nangong Hao was so angry that he was trembling. Brat, just you wait. When we get out of the octatic treasure chest game, I'll definitely kill you. The mysterious crystal must be mine. Humph, you're too greedy. Blood Hand's eyes were also red, and the blood energy on his body was surging. No matter what, I must get the mysterious crystal. Ghost Li's expression was even more ferocious, like an evil spirit. Brat, hand over the mysterious crystal and the blood soul stone obediently, and I can spare your life. Otherwise, when you leave the octatic treasure chest game, it will be the time of your death. Yu Luocha's voice was even colder. The others were also crazy. They stared at Lin Xian with murderous intent. Obviously, as soon as the octatic treasure chest game was out, these people would make a move to snatch the mysterious crystal in Lin Xian's hands. In the past, such a thing would never happen, because no matter who obtained the mysterious crystal, they would immediately absorb it on the spot. The others could only watch. However, it was different now. Not only did Lin Xian obtain 3 mysterious crystals, but he also placed them in his storage ring. He did not absorb any of them. This was equivalent to having a small sun above his head, telling others that the treasure was here. Come, come, come. Therefore, not only Nangong Hao, Blood Hand and the others, even the martial artists outside, and even the city lord who was hiding in the dark, were extremely tempted. As long as the octatic treasure chest game was out, they could make a move without any worries. Without the restriction of the octatic treasure chest game, Lin Xian would definitely die. Everyone's eyes were red. There was no other way. The mysterious crystal was too important. Whoever obtained it would be able to reach the peak and stand above everyone else. Therefore, even if Lin Xian's current identity was the disciple of the third guardian, they would not care. If they could break through, why would they care about the third guardian? In an instant, everyone looked at Lin Xian with greed in their eyes. Nangong Hao waved his hand, and the martial artists from the Divine Pill Hall immediately rushed forward and surrounded the array. On the other side, Blood Hand, Ghostly, and the others waved their hands as well. All the elite martial artists from the various halls quickly rushed over and surrounded the octatic treasure chess game. The surrounding martial artists were terrified and quickly retreated. Damn it. I'm afraid this is going to be troublesome. That kid is too strong. He snatched 3 mysterious crystals and did not give the other Sky Prides a chance. He's too arrogant and overbearing. The other Sky Prides will not agree. There will definitely be a huge battle. Hurry up and retreat. Otherwise, you won't even be able to keep your life. This Hua Wufeng is too arrogant. He could have left one for the others. Now that he has taken all 3, the Heaven Sect will not accept it. It's over. There will definitely be a huge battle. I'm afraid the enforcers will not care. Yeah, I'm afraid the city lord will want a share of the loot. The surrounding martial artists quickly retreated and discussed. Humph! In the crowd, Morong Qingqing, who was dressed in purple, looked like a fairy. When he saw this, he snorted. Beside him, Luo Bingshan looked cold. As long as Lin Xian gave the order, he would definitely take action. However, the Crimson Dragon shook his head and said, "The 2 of you don't have to do anything. Leave this to that kid." As expected, Lin Xian scanned his surroundings and revealed a disdainful sneer. Why, you can't beat me in a fair fight, so you want to snatch it by force? Kid, you're too arrogant. You can't take the mysterious crystals for yourself. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and hand it over. Perhaps you can keep your life. Otherwise, today will be your burial ground. Nangong Hao snorted. Blood Hand was also filled with killing intent. I advise you not to make a mistake. Hurry up and hand over the mysterious crystals. Hand over the crystals? I don't have the habit of spitting out what I've taken. Lin Xian shrugged. Also, you losers. Do you really think you can beat me? Hee, although none of us are a match for you in a one-on-one fight, what if we join forces? Ghostly sneered. With the 7 of us joining forces, do you think you can escape? Moreover, there are elites from our various halls around. That's right. The city, Lord's Mansion, won't let you go either. Gu Yuan's face was ferocious. Kid, kneel down obediently and hand over the mysterious crystals and the blood soul stone. I can spare your life. Yu Luosha also shouted. The 7 Sky Prides stared at Lin Xian like lightning. They did not hide their killing intent and greed. Then, the 7 of them quickly turned around and left the octatic treasure chest set. Because they could not kill anyone in the octatic treasure chest set. They could only attack after they came out. Therefore, they first asked their men to surround the octatic treasure chest set to prevent Lin Xian from escaping. Chapter 1387. Kid, get down here and accept your death. Stay up there forever if you dare. I don't believe you won't come out. You think you can stop me? If I want to leave, even God can't stop me. Lin Shui sneered, then stepped out and left the octatic treasure chest game. What? He actually came out. The surrounding martial artists exclaimed in disbelief. No way, this guy is too arrogant. He actually dared to come out? Yeah, he's definitely dead if he comes out. In the octatic treasure chest game, the array can block most of the damage, so it's absolutely safe. But once he comes out, he'll lose the defense of the array. With the strength of the 7 geniuses, I'm afraid no one can withstand their anger. It's over. That kid is dead for sure. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. They all thought that Lin Xian was too arrogant. Nan Gong Hao, Blood Rogue, Ghostly, and the others laughed wildly. They didn't expect that Lin Xian would really come out. Idiot kid, you're too arrogant. Today will be the day you die. What an idiot. Do you really think you're invincible? Hand over the mysterious crystal. Kill. A series of cold shouts could be heard. Then, the 7 geniuses quickly attacked. This time, they were completely on the same side and decided to kill Lin Xian together. Nan Gonghao's figure was tall, and his cold face was filled with killing intent. He was too aggrieved previously. He actually lost to Lin Xian in the field he was best at. Therefore, this time, he wanted to vent the anger in his heart. He had to blast Lin Xian into pieces. Die, brat! Countless purple flames surged out of his body and turned into a purple qilin in front of him. It roared ferociously, and terrifying heat spread out in all directions. This time, I won't give you any chance. Blood Rogue's expression was cold as killing intent surged all over his body. A river of blood surged behind him, emitting a monstrous smell of blood. In the next moment, the river of blood danced and wrapped around his arm, forming a mysterious pattern. Then he struck out with his palm. Suddenly, the sky, earth, and all directions turned blood red. It was as if the space had turned into azure hell. The scene was extremely terrifying. It made one's scalp tingle and despair. I will make you kneel until you die. Yu Luocha's beautiful face was very cold. She waved the human-faced peach blossom fan, and the pink mist formed an extremely strange light that slashed towards Lin Xian. Kik, your soul is mine. Ghostly laughed sinisterly, holding the white bone banner in his hand. Countless ghosts and vengeful spirits quickly rushed forward. Kill! Feng Huidi didn't say anything. She just gripped the black spear in her hand tightly and stabbed out quickly. Soul-extinguishing spear. This spear was like a black torrent, directly piercing through the void, quickly stabbing towards Lin Xian. Die, brat! Gu Yuan's face was ferocious and twisted. He waved the long sword in his hand and slashed out several sharp sword lights. Every single sword light contained all of his power. At this moment, when they flew out together, it was terrifying to the extreme. The 7 experts attacked at the same time, causing the entire space in front of them to rapidly collapse. An incomparably terrifying power instantly rushed towards Lin Xian, as if wanting to tear him to pieces. Horrifying, it was too horrifying. The 7 prodigies were all extremely powerful existences. When the 7 of them attacked, it could be said that no one could compare. The martial artists watching from afar felt their scalps go numb, and their faces were filled with despair. In front of this power, they were like tiny ants, unable to resist at all. Many people were even forced to kneel on the ground by this aura, trembling. It's over. That brat is really finished. Everyone shook their heads because, in front of the 7 prodigies, even the hall master would not be able to resist. But Lin Xian was still calm. and there was even disdain at the corner of his mouth. These attacks were incomparably terrifying in the eyes of outsiders, and no one could resist them. But in his eyes they were nothing. One had to know that he had once faced Prince Ling Feng's powerful attack. At that time there were 10 peak ninth heaven martial artists, dozens of ninth heaven supremacies, and hundreds of eighth heaven supremacies. That lineup was hundreds of times more than now. However, he could destroy any kind of lineup with a wave of his hand, let alone the ones in front of him. Is this all you've got? Really pitifully weak. People like you are worthy of being called prodigies? Today, I'll let you see what a true prodigy is. Lin Xian sneered. His black hair fluttered, and a powerful aura surged from his body, instantly exploding. An extremely powerful force exploded from Lin Xian's body, like an ancient ferocious beast that had awakened. It was terrifying. His vitality was vigorous, and it shot straight into the sky. There was even a low dragon roar coming from his body. He punched out, and the terrifying force directly caused the space in front of him to explode. The 7 ultimate attacks that were charging towards him also exploded with this punch, turning into countless streams of energy. What? He blasted them apart with one punch? That's impossible. Everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe their eyes. As for the 7 sky prides, their pupils constricted as they shrieked. What was going on? They did not dare to believe that the other party had blasted their attacks apart with one punch. How was that possible? One had to know that they were all prodigies, and each of them was extremely powerful. The 7 of them together could even defeat their hall master. But now, the attacks of the 7 of them were actually blasted away by a single punch. What kind of technique is that? They did not dare to believe it. Perhaps even the 4 protectors of the sacred sect could not do that. Only the legendary left and right messengers and the Black Dragon sect's leader could do that. But now the person who had done that was only a 20-year-old young man, and his cultivation was only at the 8th heaven of the honorable realm. They could not believe it. No, impossible, this can't be real. Nangong Hao screamed crazily. Damn it, how did you do that? Blood Hand's face was ferocious. Impossible. This must be AF * King illusion. Ghost Li's face was ugly, and he no longer had the arrogance from before. Yu Luosha and Feng Hudi lost their colors as well. At this moment, all 7 geniuses were stunned by this punch. You're just a bunch of ants. How dare you call yourselves prodigies? Do you think that 7 ants working together can kill a giant dragon? Ignorant. Lin Xian snorted. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind. At that moment, he was like a god of war, looking disdainfully at his surroundings. His powerful aura suffocated everyone. In the next moment, his body swayed as he charged towards the 7 prodigies. On the opposite side, the 7 prodigies' eyes narrowed. Then they roared angrily and executed their most powerful techniques to counterattack. There was no way out now. They could only fight with their backs against the wall to survive. Otherwise, with Lin Xian's strength, they would not be able to contend with him. Nangong Hao. Alchemy genius unparalleled flame? Trash, like you dare not play with fire in front of me? In an instant, Lin Xian arrived in front of Nangong Hao. His speed made everyone's scalp go numb. Chapter 1388. In the blink of an eye, Lin Xian had arrived in front of Nangong Hao. His speed made everyone's hair stand on end. That was because they hadn't noticed when Lin Xian had arrived. Nangong Hao's face turned pale. His handsome face was filled with fear. He had not expected Lin Xian to find him first. Why? Why did he find me first? Nangong Hao roared in his heart. However, he could not care less. He could only grit his teeth and fight back. Let me show you my flame martial soul. Purple River Martial Soul, condense. Nangong Hao roared crazily. Suddenly, countless purple flames condensed on his body and formed a purple qilin in front of him. The qilin was made up of flames. It was mighty, and it exuded a terrifying power. This was Nangong Hao's martial soul. Go to hell, brat. Along with the voice, the purple qilin roared and pounced on Lin Xian. The heat from the flames burned black holes in the void. Is this what you get for being so arrogant? Purple flame? Ridiculous. Let me show you what a real flame qilin is. Lin Xian roared. Then, countless black flames gushed out from his body and formed a huge monster in front of him. This time, it was also a qilin. It was black and ferocious. Its aura was 10 times stronger than Nangong Hao's. The huge black qilin was like a peerless demon. It looked down and slapped Nangong Hao's purple qilin into powder. Puff! Nangong Hao was severely injured. He spat out blood and knelt on the ground. No, impossible. He could not believe that Lin Xian had used the same move as him. Moreover, Lin Xian's move was 10 times stronger than his. He was in despair. Trash! Lin Xian snorted and turned to leave. The huge black qilin disappeared quickly. However, only a black palm was left hanging above Nangong Hao's head. With just a little bit of force, Nangong Hao would be burned to ashes. No. Feeling the terrifying aura above his head, Nangong Hao screamed in despair. He knew that he had been defeated. Lin Xian could easily kill him. He didn't know who the other party was to have such power, but he knew that he had to survive. No, you can't kill me. I'm a genius of the Divine Pill Hall. If you kill me, the Divine Pill Hall won't let you off. Lin Xian snorted coldly and ignored him. Then, with a flash, he appeared in front of Blood Hand again. Blood Demon King, come out. Blood Hand's face was ferocious as he shouted with all his might. He knew that it was too late to say anything now. He could only fight with everything he had to survive. Therefore, he did not hesitate to summon his martial soul. Blood qi surged from his body, emitting a monstrous killing intent. A figure slowly condensed from the blood river behind him. It was a blood-colored giant that was 2 meters tall. His limbs were thick and muscular, and his face was ferocious. He did not look like a human at all, but a blood demon. Not only that, but there were blood-colored patterns all over his body, forming an extremely mysterious pattern. This was Blood Hand's martial soul, the Blood Demon King. As soon as he walked out, his surroundings turned blood red. His monstrous killing intent made everyone tremble. This Blood Demon King's aura was too fierce. It was definitely formed by killing countless people. Kid, do you know how my martial soul was formed? Blood Hand's voice was ferocious. This Blood Demon King was formed after I killed 10,000 elite martial artists. 10,000. When the surrounding people heard this, they all trembled. This was the real 10,000 massacre. No wonder he had such a terrifying Blood Demon King. Ordinary martial artists had no chance of winning against Blood Hand. This was because Blood Hand did not even need to make a move. Just the terrifying Blood Demon King's aura alone was enough to crush the opponent's will. 10,000 massacre. After Lin Xian heard this, he laughed disdainfully. Then he said in a deep voice, "Is this what you're so proud of? With this little bit of Blood Demon King's aura? You are still far from it. Today, I'll show you what the real Blood Demon King's aura is." He snorted coldly and quickly displayed the Blood Sword Massacre inheritance. An extremely terrifying Blood Demon King's aura gushed out from Lin Xian's body and instantly filled the surroundings. The surrounding sky turned blood red. Not only that, a vast sea of blood appeared around him, instantly turning the southern desolation ancient town into a blood-red azura hell. Blood Sea, this was the real Blood Sea. It was as if it had materialized and appeared in the surroundings. In the Blood Sea, Countless white bones and corpses floated, emitting a monstrous, murderous aura. What? How is this possible? Bloodhand was shocked and could not believe it. He did not expect his opponent to have such a powerful Blood Demon King's aura. Moreover, from this aura, it was more than 10 times stronger than his. If the blood-red, murderous aura on his body was a surging river, then the murderous aura on Lin Xian's body was a boundless ocean that stretched as far as the eye could see. The murderous aura on Lin Xian's body was countless times larger than his. How was this a battle? This was a comparison between an ant and a giant dragon. They were not on the same level at all. Boom! In front of Lin Xian's blood massacre, Bloodhand's martial soul could not withstand it at all and exploded. Puff! Bloodhand vomited a large mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted and turned to leave, walking towards his next target. The blood sea around him quickly condensed, forming a blood-red palm, floating above Bloodhand's head. As long as it lightly patted, it would be destroyed. Everyone was shocked. This method was too terrifying. Because Bloodhand and Nangong were defeated, completely defeated in their strongest and most confident domain. And Lin Xian was like a demon god, walking towards Ghost Li again. What do you want to do? Ghost Li's face was pale with fright. His heart was shocked. He gritted his teeth and coldly snorted. Good method. It is indeed a good method. I didn't expect your mastery of fire and blood to be so high. Even Bloodhand and Nangong are not your opponents. But I do not believe that you also cultivate the Soul Tao. If you have the ability, use the same method to defeat me. Ghost Li madly roared. He could already see that Lin Xian was obviously trying to attack them. But he did not believe that he would lose this time. Because he cultivated the Soul Tao, he had millions of souls, and such a person's characteristics were very obvious. But the other party did not have the aura of vengeful spirits. So he did not believe that the other party could use the same martial skill as him. In the next moment, Ghost Li roared, grabbed the white bone banner, and waved it quickly. Millions of vengeful spirits quickly whistled out. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled. Yin Qi permeated the heaven and earth, causing people's scalps to go numb. On the huge white bone banner, countless white bone claws stretched out. It was extremely terrifying. Ghost Tao? Lin Xian coldly snorted. To be honest, he did not know this martial skill. But he had the great dragon sword spirit. It was an offensive saint technique between heaven and earth. It could evolve and simulate everything. Using the great dragon sword spirit to simulate a few vengeful spirits. It was a piece of cake for him. Chapter 1389. Soon, Lin Xian waved his hand, and a terrifying vengeful spirit appeared in his hand. As soon as the vengeful spirit appeared, it stirred up a chilly wind, causing everyone to tremble. As for Ghost Li and the rest, they all knelt in the air and bowed as if they had met their emperor. Impossible. This is impossible. I don't believe it. Ghost Li's expression changed drastically, and even his body trembled. He did not believe that Lin Xian could summon the same spirit as him, and that spirit's aura was 10 times stronger than his. Illusion. You must be using an illusion. Ghost Li gritted his teeth, waved the white bone banner, and quickly attacked. Lin Xian snorted coldly and controlled the vengeful spirit formed by the great dragon, Sword Soul, to attack. Boom! Suddenly, Ghost Li's vengeful spirit shattered, and the white bone banner also cracked into 2. Defeated again. In an instant, the terrifying Ghost Li was defeated. Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed, and the remaining 4 Sky Prides felt their scalps go numb. They looked at each other and then quickly attacked. This time, they would definitely take the initiative. Human Face Peach Blossom Fan. Yu Luosha shouted and waved the fan in her hand. Suddenly, the fan expanded rapidly, and a human face formed by peach blossoms appeared on it. It was extremely strange and emitted a terrifying aura. The human face was ferocious, and it spat out a pink mist that was extremely terrifying and corrosive. As soon as it appeared, black holes were burned in the void. Even a ninth heaven supremacy would be turned into a pool of pus if they touched it. The mist formed a ray of light that shot towards Lin Xian. Soul extinguishing spear. Daluo sword technique. A black spear, a sharp sword light, and an extremely terrifying saber light shot towards Lin Xian. The black spear was powerful enough to extinguish souls, and it could extinguish the souls of others. The sword light was even more dazzling, and it was golden all over. It was as heavy as 10,000 pieces of gold, and it was like a golden mountain that came crashing down. Shadowless also slashed out a saber light. He did not assassinate at close range, but attacked directly. That blade light was dazzling like a shooting star. Moreover, it was swift and fierce to the extreme. That killing intent was not the slightest bit weaker than Bloodhand's. Moreover, it was soundless and impossible to guard against. The 4 attacks were incomparably terrifying. They were all the absolute arts of the 4 people. Lin Xian coldly snorted and waved his arms rapidly. Suddenly, a black spear appeared in his hand. With a thrust of the spear, the terrifying spear light was as sharp as a black dragon. Furthermore, there was an extremely powerful soul power entwined around it. Soul extinguishing spear. He had used the great dragon sword technique to create this spear. What? That's impossible. How did you do it? Feng Hudi's beautiful face lost all color, and her face was full of shock. Not only that, Lin Xian waved his arm again, and a golden sword light, like an ancient demonic mountain, pierced through the sky and covered the entire space with a layer of gold. The Daluo sword technique was exactly the same, and it was even more terrifying than Gu Yuan's. What? That's impossible! Gu Yuan screamed. A ray of light flew out from Lin Xian's fingertip. Like the Milky Way, it instantly split the entire void into 2. Windless slash. Shadowless's pupils shrank. He did not expect his absolute art to appear in the hands of others. That was not the end. Lin Xian used his spiritual power to form a folding fan and slapped it forward. The power of the human-faced peach blossom fan was 10 times stronger than Yu Luocha's. That's impossible. Yu Luocha was extremely shocked and could not believe it. That was her absolute art. But it was actually used by the other party. Furthermore, the power was even more terrifying than what they had used. Although they had seen Ling Xian's technique before, they still could not believe it when they saw it again. The so-called absolute art was naturally something that only they knew. Others could not grasp it at all. However, the other party could use it. Not only did it look the same, but its power was even more terrifying. They could not understand what kind of technique was used to achieve this. Boom, 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 boom. Their attacks were instantly broken, and the 4 of them were heavily injured and fell to the ground. In an instant, the 7 Sky Prides were defeated once again. This time they were all heavily injured. Lin Xian waved his hand again. Immediately, 4 terrifying palms appeared and pressed on the Sky Prides of those people. Brat, you dare to touch me? I will make you wish you were dead. Yu Luocha screamed. She had never been threatened like this before. The corner of Shadowless's mouth twitched and his expression turned ugly. Similarly, Feng Hudi snorted coldly. Gu Yuan knelt on the ground and begged loudly for mercy. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I didn't mean to target you previously. Now I apologize to you. Please let me go. The last person, Gu Yuan, began to beg for mercy. When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, they all had different expressions. Some shook their heads, some felt pity, and some sneered. They did not expect Guyuan to kneel and beg for mercy. In the sky, Elder Linghu's expression was also ugly. As for the city lord, who was hiding in the dark, he snorted coldly in his heart. Lin Xian ignored the threats and curses of those sky prides. He slowly raised his palm and was about to land it. Nangong Haochi's face was pale and filled with despair. He had never expected that he would die here one day. However, at this critical moment, the ground suddenly began to tremble. It was as if there was an earthquake, or as if thousands of soldiers and horses had arrived. What's going on? The surrounding warriors were shocked. They did not know what had happened. Lin Xian also frowned and did not continue to attack those 7 people. This made the 7 of them heave a sigh of relief. At the same time, hope rose in their hearts. That's great. As long as we can delay for a while, the hall masters of their respective halls will arrive. By then they will be safe. Humph, brat, just you wait. When our hall masters arrive, they will definitely kill you. I will make you wish you were dead. Nangong Haochi, and the others roared in their hearts. Lin Xian turned around and looked into the distance. His gaze was like 2 rays of sword light that pierced through the void. Soon, the crowd understood what had happened. This was because countless figures were flying towards them at high speed. These people were dressed in black robes and had blood-red hair. Their faces were ferocious, and each of them had a strong murderous aura. They were like death gods. Shura Hall. The Shura Hall's army is here, the crowd exclaimed in horror. They did not expect the Shura Hall to arrive at this critical moment. It's over. It looks like the Shura Hall is here for revenge. That's for sure. The Shura Hall lost 3 elders and more than 10 disciples. They have also lost their reputation. No matter what, they will not take this lying down. But that Hua Wufeng is not simple either. Those 7 sky prides were no match for him. I wonder if the Shura Hall can subdue him. Are you stupid? No matter how powerful those sky prides are, there are only 7 of them. The Shura Hall has brought hundreds of experts this time. Even their hall master is here. With such strength, they can definitely kill that brat. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.